Man, being a self-employed fella, doing the stand-ups and things, and that's my main source of income.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do miss the joy of a on-the-clock doo-doo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
An on-the-clock poop, man, it's beautiful. You know why? Because you're sticking it to the man, and it's so wonderful. A really like a I got away with something kind of bathroom break is so delightful.
I got into an argument with someone a long time ago because they were talking about like work and stuff, and they're like, you don't know what it is like to work. Like you do your own thing and you control it, so you're your own boss. And I'm like, I actually think in a lot of ways it's harder because if you go to your work and you have your allotted time and you do whatever you do during that time, you're paid, it's done. I'm like, if I phone in my performance, I look at it again and I have to do my work over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah, I talk about that. I've talked about like when I first really started going full time.
Yeah.
In stand-up, and people that would say like, "Oh, it's so great. It's like you don't have to work and stuff." I'm like, no. What it is I'm never not at work.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That's the difference. It's like I'm in my house. That's why I have my office to try and separate those things, and it's difficult. So it's like you're always working and also not working enough.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, what was us?
Yes.
A lot of problems for us.
Yep.
Listen, it's post Halloween.
Whew. Rear view mirror.
We made it.
Barely.
We toilet papered houses.
Oh my God.
We egged things and people.
We got chased by the Universal monsters,
Right.
who were upset
Yeah.
about their portrayal in our pitch doctors meeting.
I got chased by Universal Studios.
Wow.
Because they wanted to do my Avengers take on the Universal monsters.
Yeah.
And I said I would only do it if I could bring my two fun boys with me.
Yeah. They were like,
And they said no.
yeah.
I was very upset
That's
with
the
that.
right. That's the
They
right move.
said
Universal.
no about one person.
Can I tell you a funny thing? I was looking up, like it was coming up on my YouTube, like the Universal Monster stuff after we did that episode, and basically Universal did pitch a whole series of movies where Dracula, werewolf, whatever, they were misunderstood, but they were heroes. And every movie was about like the world hating them because they have these powers, but them saving people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is really, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's basically X-Men.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
They were like, we're gonna replicate Marvel and make these guys cool or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Cool Frankenstein.
Sunglasses.
What's up, kids? Hey, fellow kids.
I hope those torches are lit.
You son of a bitch.
I don't want to be chuggy, but just
Frank.
Dab. He has to yell it every dab. Frankenstein, dab. He's just screaming. All I picture is him in a basketball uniform because they realize, and that's how they love Teen Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Teen Wolf, go away.
Yeah.
Here comes Teen Frank, and it's like, oh no, everybody like me, you know, because he could dunk.
That's so funny.
So dumb.
He's not tall enough to dunk, and they're like, and he just comes in the next, and he's got really long arms.
Yeah. Frankenstein take rock to the hole. That's so dumb.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Funbearable. I am Brad Rohr.
I am Ray TM Harrington.
And I am Chuck Staten, fresh out of Halloween.
Fresh out the ween.
It's November.
Straight out the ween.
Straight-
Ew, no.
I'm Chuck, straight out the ween.
Oh, no. That's Dracula trying to be cool. Well, you know who the coolest Dracula is?
Yes.
Oh, wait, no, that would be now a call forward.
Yeah, that's calling forward 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if you've ever wondered what Jimmy Stewart would sound like as Dracula,
You're gonna
find out in
Yeah.
21 days.
Yeah, but we're in November. You know, we got some stuff going on.
Yeah.
But you have some cleanups. You got to finish some Halloween stuff, I think.
I have some post-Halloween things because our last episode of Halloween, we recorded that on Halloween, of
Yes,
course.
sent it back in time.
Pushed it through. But I did trick or treat with my son, and I wanted to bring this up. So I love Halloween. That's like my favorite holiday. It's
Yep.
a lot of fun. And trick-or-treating with my son is a special thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Your son's costume was a basketball hoop.
Yeah.
Excellent costume.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
I liked it too.
Full accolades have to go to my wife, Kalina,
Right.
Yeah.
because she did the creative work
Right.
of that, and it's wonderful.
Was it Finn's idea?
Finn wanted to be a basketball hoop, yeah.
That's cool.
And it's so fun because it was this homemade costume that worked really, really well, and he got so many compliments.
Yeah, for sure.
And I loved it because there were people giving him candy, and they'd be like, that's like the best costume I've seen all night.
Yeah.
And then there would be a split second, and they go, take two. Take
Yeah,
three.
yeah.
And I told him, like, dude, you are cleaning up
Yeah.
because of your costume.
Yeah.
There were kids walking by going, I should have been a basketball
Yeah.
hoop. Like, it was
Yeah.
great. It was really
Yeah.
fun.
That is great.
Yeah, and I think the people that were giving extra candy and stuff, it's like, oh, look, a creative
Boy.
costume.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
And Kalina stayed at the house to give out candy.
Right.
That's what we've done since Finn was born. The first couple of years we went all together.
Yeah.
And then he got old enough. I take him trick-or-treating. Kalina stays home and hands out candy.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, I only saw one other homemade costume. And they're all just like the store-bought things.
Yeah.
Right. So that was really special. And that's been our thing this whole time. Like, I had such a heartwarming moment. My wife told me that she had said, oh, maybe I can hand out candy for a little while, and then when you're ready to go, we can all go together. That'll be
Yeah.
fine. And Finn was like, but I do that with Daddy. Like, that's what I do. And it was so special. That was like really nice. I'm like, yeah, this is our thing, you know? And it was a lot of fun. While we were out trick-or-treating, this is a PSA.
Can I ask real quick before you
Yeah.
go on though?
Sure.
Finn's not going to listen to this. Do you do a candy sneak when he goes to sleep? Are you like, well, let me see?
We
what
don't
he's-
do a sneak. Let me put it this way. My kid, I had to step back a few weeks ago. When this is coming out?
Yeah.
8 days ago.
8 days ago. In my head, it's like it was just last night
Yeah.
that trick-or-treating happened.
Yeah.
In my head, it feels like I snapped my fingers and today is November 1st.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's great about that stuff.
Oh, good. Okay.
It did creep in a little bit this year. Like, thankfully, he was young enough before this where, like, I have a bit about it, and I say, like, he's old enough to physically go to the door and get the candy, young enough not to know that's sweet candy he should keep for himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he didn't even clock it.
Yeah.
We keep the candy in a bowl on the fridge, on top of the fridge,
Yeah.
so he doesn't even see how much there is.
Yeah.
Right. We try and keep it away from him.
Yeah.
We don't let him take all of his candy and put it in his room or something
Right.
like
Because
that.
he's going to wake up at 3 a.m. and eat 100 Reese's cups.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I would do.
Well, he'll find me doing it in his room, like a fucking golem. Just
under his bed.
yeah. I'm covered in chocolate. My face is just covered in chocolate.
You have a red flashlight.
What are you doing? Checking for razor blades, son. I care and love you. I care about you. And I love
You under his bed.
Checking for razor blades. I haven't found any, but your mouth is just bleeding.
Yeah. God, these Reese cups are so sharp. The sharpest cups. I didn't know they were doing crunchy. No, he's great about it. And like last night, he dumped the candy out on the table. Kid starts going through the candy himself. No.
Oh, okay.
Looking for the things that we would be like, oh, you probably shouldn't have that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that one's open.
Oh, really?
Don't have that.
Yeah.
But we've done that in front of him every year.
So now he knows it's, like,
he
part of the
knows.
process.
He said that he would hand us stuff going, what do you think of this one? And it's like, no, we'll take that one away. Or
Yeah.
go ahead. That one's fine.
Wow.
What a great kid.
Yeah.
He did have a moment when we were walking, though, and he had his bag. He's like, feel how heavy this is and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, this is great. Plus, whatever's left over at home.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't have any. We ran out.
Oh, whoops.
He goes, whatever's left over at home, and that's our candy, too. And we're walking, and then a beat happens, and he goes, but this is mine, right? Like, he looks at it. I was like, oh, I see. So that's your candy, but you get to share our candy, right? Like, it was very funny, but just like, this one's mine.
Slapping each other.
Yeah, give me that back. It was so fun. It was great. Here's
PSA.
the PSA. PS Ray.
Oh,
Here's a PS Ray.
Oh, new segment.
Here we go. I'll find music and I'll hand it to Craig.
Yeah.
I'll hand it over to Craig.
Craig, yeah.
Hopefully we can have some kind of music beat happen here. Or maybe The More You Know.
Yeah.
Right? Well, no, that's The Roar You Know. Do,
Yeah.
do, do, do.
Yeah.
PS Ray, roar, you know.
PS Ray would be a public service renouncement.
Yeah.
No, that sounds like you're renouncing me.
we are no longer associated. Ray Harrington.
I like the idea of
You
that.
had no idea.
And the photo in the news is always just a confused look, like me just going, huh?
It's you like looking over his shoulder, eating a sandwich.
But it's so innocent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like looking over the shoulder is like nefarious. Like, ooh, you caught me.
Yeah.
But like just a real like, what?
Yeah.
What? We renounce this man. Huh? What'd I do? Oh, did I piss you off? I'm
You
sorry.
find him?
What?
You found him?
Oh, shit. In my backyard. No, so here's my public service renouncement.
Yes.
And it is so silly. If you are of trick-or-treat age, where you take your child trick-or-treating, or a child, maybe you're doing this for someone else, I
Right.
don't know. Just walk with your kid. Just walk around the block with your kid.
What's the alternative?
The alternative is what I saw so much last week.
Yes, 8 days ago.
8 days ago.
Yeah.
I saw so many people driving their cars at a snail's pace. Headlights on,
Okay, that's good.
hazards on, just crawling along the road.
That's fucking
so their
crazy.
kid can go trick or treating. I saw one. The dad is driving. The mom is with a small child, like a toddler, going door to door. I'm like, park the fucking car.
Wow.
And walk around the block. It's wild to me that in 2023, my experience trick-or-treating with my son, that I love and it's special.
Right.
And he's 9. It's going to end soon.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to want to go with his friends
Right.
and do his
Oh,
stuff.
man. How many more you think you got?
One. It might be over. This might have been the last one.
Yep.
No. You got to
Yeah.
have 2, I think. 11.
He's going to be 10. And he's probably going to want to do like a sleepover with a friend and go trick-or-treating.
Oh, wow.
And we talked about going to another neighborhood next year, too. Because I think...
You got to keep enticing him. Like, you're like, well, next year, maybe we'll go to this rich neighborhood I heard about in Vermont.
I'll say,
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like something weird like that. Every year
Yeah.
you make it bigger to keep him.
so next year,
Candy Anchor Baby.
I'll say,
Is that a thing? Can we do something with that?
I think you have him next year because Halloween's on a Thursday. I think the year after
Yeah.
is when the sleepover
Yeah.
on a Friday night happens.
But we're definitely going to do a different neighborhood because we had. I think what happened was there were a lot of young kids in the neighborhood,
Right.
that have now gotten older,
Right.
So there are like a lot more houses without the light on, stuff like that, and then these fucking cars
This is
just
shocking to
slowly
me.
crawling along. Like I was so mad, but I wanted the night to be fun, so I just held it in, and then like got home and after he went to bed, I was talking to my wife like, "What the fuck with these people?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They would just crawl along, and the problem is, you're avoiding the car,
right.
right? That is constantly just slowly moving. Oh, this car is coming towards the side of the road here where parents stand and wait for the kid to go up to the house, right?
Yeah.
And their headlights are on at night, so anytime you look down that direction of the road, you're just being blinded by headlights.
Yeah.
One person had their fucking brights on for a minute.
Oh, my God.
I was so irritated with this. I wanted to be like the mayor of Halloween.
Yeah.
And just run around going, trick-or-treating is not a drive-through experience.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like it was chilly here.
Yeah.
You know, in the high 40s, but I have a friend, friends in the Midwest. It snowed
Yeah.
on Halloween, like this year, 8 days ago. And I almost understand it if it's snowing, like light snow.
Still, you got to be there for your kid, though.
Yeah,
But
Like,
like,
you're gonna-
I don't understand it. It's 47 degrees. Put on a coat.
Well, here's the
Like,
thing, though.
Right.
You're 40. So let's say you're between the ages of 35 and 50. You're gonna make like your 8-year-old walk in the cold, but
Right.
you're not gonna be in the cold.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Buck
And
up.
also, even if you were like, oh, it's cold, so my kid will get in the car and go door to door. I wouldn't do that with my kid. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that. I'm like, but this is not what this is.
Right. Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? We're not doing this. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna walk, and if it's too cold, we'll go home.
Yeah.
And sorry, but we'll hook you up with some more candy. It's
Yeah,
fine.
buck up, especially as a parent.
Yeah.
Like if the kid is too cold, I get it. He
Obviously,
wants to go
yeah.
home.
Yeah.
But if you're
Bundle
but if
your
you're like,
fucker up.
Yeah, exactly. If you're like, I'm 40, I'm too good. It's like, shut the fuck up.
It really bothered me. And then there was just when I was just like, fine, whatever, let's turn down this way. We'll get past the cars. I really didn't like the cars. I think that's just like antithetical to the thing.
I don't like it either.
Because it also lights up a whole area.
Right.
And it's like, well, this isn't fun.
No.
Yeah.
I want to see the decorations. I want to see the lights. I
Yeah.
want to see all the stuff.
No, that's bad
You know,
news.
there's two like 20-something girls that I think are roommates in this house, and they're in the driveway giving out candy and playing music and having fun. And I even said like, thank you guys for doing this. This is fun.
I'd love
this
to
is
go.
good.
What was the address?
No. No. This is a sweet childhood thing. You're ruining it. No, but it's stuff like that where I'm like, I like that embrace. I think when people talk about Halloween
Yeah.
being like, you have a joke that you posted about Halloween being like, you know,
The tits and murder thing?
yeah, tits and murder, T&M. And you know, Christmas is positive, you know, caring and sharing. Thanksgiving's thankful, family, blah blah blah. I think Halloween is secretly really great for the community.
Oh,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Without a
Literally,
doubt.
yeah, you go door to door to your neighbors, and they give you something.
Right.
Yes.
And I see those people. There's a bunch of people I only see them
Right.
at Halloween. I
Yes.
see them trick or treating with my
Yes.
son, but I know who they are. Hi, hello, you know, that kind of thing. And it's fun and it's nice. It's a nice thing.
They get a sense of the creative stuff from the other families, and then when you're the person giving out candy, you get to be like, what am I going to decorate? Like, am I
Yeah.
going to do a cool alternative thing?
Right.
Which
Am
is
I
really
going to be
cool.
a fun person that has a thing in the driveway? Am I
Yes.
going to be somebody who just sits in the house and like takes 20 minutes to get to the door and then just hands them pretzels? You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
And not like a
Southwest Airline pretzels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say not a package of pretzels, just
Yeah,
like
one pretzel.
One stick.
I remember as a kid, one lady, an older lady, she gave out an individually wrapped donut, right? Like
Wow.
some pack of
Okay.
donuts.
Yep.
Gave a donut, like a white powdered donut, and a can of Pepsi.
Oh,
to every
yeah.
I don't mind that. I think that's fun.
kid. It's wild. That's so 90s. It's crazy.
It's tough because like I know that you can't give someone opened stuff.
Yeah.
But I think if it was like up to me, I would love to make a special thing that I could make a lot of and hand them out. But it's tough.
That's my second PS Ray. It's different.
It's tough.
I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Exactly what you're saying. The
Yeah.
open
Yeah.
things.
You can't
right?
do it.
No.
You can't do it. But like that's my draw.
Put a pin in it, just like the psychopaths do with candy.
Yes.
Put a
And
pin in that.
butterflies.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
I think doctors, butterfly researchers,
Yeah. Not doctors.
they might have a doctor.
Lepidopterus.
Yeah. If they're a doctor for butterflies, they're a bad one. They're like they're just always like, I don't know.
Or to
Maybe
paint-
stick a
you,
pin
you know
through
what?
it?
It's a butterfly acupuncturist.
Well, Brad came to my house. Like, what
terrible
are you
at
doing
it.
to that butterfly? And I'm like, it's colonoscopy.
But
So beautiful.
I feel like your only experience with this kind of thing is just the cover of Silence of the Lambs. That's it. And that's a moth.
Yeah.
No, so here's the PS Ray. You know, just walk with your kid.
Right.
I saw the cars. We get done with that. We round a corner. Great. We're in the nice, fun part, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Some nut job guy walking his like his Rottweiler pit bull mix.
Perfect.
That he's not there for trick or treating.
Okay.
He's just walking this dog that can't handle being around people.
Yep.
And it got to a point where I was like, let's turn. Let's
Yeah.
go
He's like, be
another
careful.
way.
My dog hates pumpkins and skeletons.
Yeah. My dog hates children and candy.
My dog hates basketball hoops.
Yeah.
It was wild. At one point, a fucking like beat up old minivan comes crawling to a stop in front of me. Like
It's scary.
the way they pulled up was the way someone would slowly pull up to you to ask directions. It was
Yeah.
that exact thing. And I'm looking at this as an adult man going, what's about to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'm waiting for the van door to open. Genuinely.
Yeah.
I had a split second of like, what what's happening.
Yep.
I made sure Finn was behind me. Like I was ready. And it's just this guy like looking out at the house and stuff. I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Does he have a kid that he's doing this with?
Yeah.
I saw no kid. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that minivan, but there were so many dipshits driving through trick-or-treating that I just didn't know.
I know.
Guys, maybe don't do that. Maybe you're just setting a real easy situation for someone, right?
Yeah, I know.
Then we round a corner. I hear this crazy loud noise. It's a group of trick-or-treaters, like a family.
Okay.
And there's a man on a fucking four-wheeler slowly driving through the neighborhood with the kids. The kids are walking.
Okay.
This guy is on an ATV, a straight-up four-wheeler, driving house to house with that on. You know, so you have the headlight of that.
Yep.
And then this loud... Four-wheelers aren't quiet.
Yeah.
I know.
And we ended up
That's
getting...
great. I've never dealt with anything
I
like that.
hated it. I hated it so much.
Yeah.
But I'm with my son. I don't want to ruin the night with him, right?
Yeah, you put it on a
And the
face.
four-wheeler like got behind us, and it was like we would hit a house, and then grrr, it comes up to the house. And I was at a point where I was like, you know what I don't want to hear when I'm trick-or-treating with my kid? Your fucking engine the whole time.
Yeah.
We're out at night in the neighborhood. I want to hear some fucking crickets.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear children laughing and playing on the other street. I want to hear the spooky music at this house.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear your fucking lawnmower engine blaring the whole time. It was crazy.
That is fucking crazy. Oh my
How
God.
lazy do you have to be?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And if you are medically unable to walk around and do that, I get it. I feel for you. Just hand out candy at home.
Yeah.
You already have a part to play. You can
Yeah.
just be home.
You're part of it.
I'll say
That's fine.
As you were talking, I'm like, man, the idea of like an electric golf cart,
Yeah.
but decorated.
Great. I love it. It's fun.
It's
That
quiet.
is
It's
fun.
quiet.
Totally.
It's quiet. It's fun.
Exactly.
And it.
You could make it into a little hearse.
That's
cool.
There are
Yeah.
a lot of different ways you could decorate it.
Just decorate it like you would a house. You know,
Yeah.
you got pumpkins on it, you got lights
LED
on
lights.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that is I am not super mobile, but it's also expensive.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would do that now. Are you kidding me? I would just drive around in that thing all the time.
Yes.
You talked about you don't know how many trick or treats you have left with Finn.
Yeah.
Here's how we keep him hooked. Chuck and Brad are going to join the party next year with our own little golf cart, and
He will dip out faster.
Yeah,
He will dip out faster.
I will also dip out faster.
He has made it clear. He doesn't want you guys involved.
One time I was going to buy this.
your thing.
They had this vehicle that was like a big bicycle, but there's 4 seats and it's a huge car bicycle.
Yeah.
I was trying to buy it, but I was like, I'll buy it if Brad promises to drive around town with me, and I could not get him to agree to it.
But think about it. Then you got 2 more seats for those hot chicks you're gonna pick up.
Well, the 20-year-olds. Yeah.
Hi, ladies.
We're twice your age.
There's 4 pedals in the back if you got feet.
Hi, ladies. Let me catch my breath, and then I'll talk to you in a second. Just sweating profusely, makeup all running.
Could you
down
please
your face.
call 9?
I would pedal myself to the hospital, but I'm so lightheaded.
Hey, ladies, you guys CPR is certified.
But yeah, I couldn't believe it. So
Yeah.
my PS Ray is,
Yeah.
if you're going to go trick-or-treating next year with your kid, just please walk.
Yeah.
Please don't take your car.
Please walk.
Don't take your car. No one needs to take a car. And if it's the kid's great grandparent and it's their last year and they want to see it, fine.
Yeah.
Go for a couple houses, but then go, hey, this isn't a car-based moment. Let me go home.
This isn't a car.
If you have an ATV, don't use it. I don't care if it's a 4-wheeler, a 3-wheeler, a quad is a 4-wheeler. I don't care. A trike, that's a 3-wheeler. A dirt bike, a motorcycle.
That's 2.
I don't give a shit. If you have to.
Ooh, powered unicycle.
Nope, I'm out.
Hey, Brad.
Hey, guys.
The only thing I would allow is stupid hoverboards.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But that's because most of those middle-aged parents would absolutely eat shit.
Wipe out, yeah.
Yeah. Oh!
So what's the second thing?
Yeah.
That was my PS Ray.
Okay.
Yes.
Now this is it's another new segment, And the new segment is, it's not as serious, but I'm trying to court a new thing with our audience.
Ooh, okay, good.
So you know how recently we've been dealing with Red State Red?
Yes.
Trying to bring in some of the right-wing audience because they have dedicated audience.
Yeah.
They really do.
Really, truly.
Almost like blindly following whatever's put in front of
That's
them.
what I'm saying.
Chucker Carlson.
Ooh. You know what? I like it. Because it's like two bad things mixed together.
Well, doesn't he have like a dumb fucking look all the time? Like he's like this? Like,
Yeah.
isn't he like that?
Yeah.
Isn't there like a thing where he's always confused
Yeah.
about what he's talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
He's always like, well, why
It's-
would the left want to do that?
You know what it is?
something like that?
It's like confused xenophobia. That's what it is.
I don't know what it is, but I don't like it.
Those people,
He's drunk.
those
I
people
love
are,
like it.
those people are culturally different than me. But why is that not good? Because I think it's not good.
Yeah.
Should it be a crime to believe in something I don't? Huh? Why? Hmm?
You're gonna have a lot of thumbnails to pick from.
Oh yeah.
Come on,
Between
Brad.
that and your
Come on,
innocent
join in,
one.
join in.
I don't. I
Tucker
don't
Branson.
nah.
You know
That makes even less sense.
Brad O'Reilly.
There we go.
Oh, that's
Oh, I know why. You want it to be Harvey Bradstein.
Brad Lauer, but yeah, same idea. Same idea.
Yeah. Bill Rorsby.
So you're courting the right.
This is a new court.
Okay.
You know who else is developing huge following?
Who's that?
Weirdo conspiracy people.
yeah.
Okay.
Huge audience.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I meet some of the criteria. Comedian, podcaster,
Yep.
put them together, pivoting towards a real conspiracy theory kind of world, Russell Brand.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So this,
Russell Brad. All right.
I couldn't think of a more opposite person.
Wow.
Russell
Russell
Brand
Brand
and-
is the opposite
yeah.
of Brad Rohr.
It's the yin and yang situation.
RB? BR.
Yeah.
By the way, he's more like BR Thur.
I like it. That's the highlight. So we don't have a name for it. It's not a PS Ray.
Right.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah. No.
No.
Because they won't say it's a conspiracy.
Okay.
It's just the truth.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's just the
Conspiracy.
truth.
Right.
Giving you the truth. Here's my theory.
Okay.
I was thinking about this, and it comes back to what you were saying about not being able to have unwrapped treats.
Yeah.
That's true. Don't have an unwrapped treat. In fact, looking through the candy, Finn's candy that he got, we had to make sure, and even he did this, stuff that had like too old seeming of a wrapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that's like, well, that seems like it's maybe last year.
Okay.
And we would put that in the toss pile.
Wow.
With the open candy.
Wow. There was some children at my house recently, and I gave them Kit Kats from like 8 years ago.
They loved him.
They loved them, yeah. How else were you going to get them down there?
I
Yeah.
did tell them, I'm like, these are old as shit, you guys. They were lemon Kit Kats.
I'm offended on so many levels. So many levels. I don't like the lemon of a Kit Kat. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
That's why I gave it to him.
A Kit Kat's boring to begin with.
Oh, Kit Kats are good.
And
though.
and then I also don't like that these children were at your house. I don't know
we're,
what
we're
that was
carving
about.
jack-o'-lanterns.
Oh, okay. That's fair. You yucked my yum real quick on that one. So here's my conspiracy. You ready?
Yes.
I think that all of the stories we hear of tampered with candy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There has not been a single documented case of a stranger like giving drugs out for candy.
It's true.
The poisoning or damage that we've heard of from a candy on Halloween, I think there's one specific like actual poisoning where a child died, and it was traced back to the kid's uncle or father.
Yeah, that's a
And
relative.
it was given to on purpose, and it was given to them. There was a life insurance policy, I believe it was the father, and it was given to them like before they went trick or treating.
Yeah.
So this myth, the urban legend of people handing out horrible things disguised in trick or treating candy. I have, you know where I'm going. None of it's real. You know what I mean? And if there is a thing, it's like a complete outlier. If somebody like, I put a nail in a Reese's, you know, something like that, it's an outlier. There's no risk there. And I always thought this way of like, it just logically doesn't make sense.
Right.
You're at a house. Hey, I know. I'll do a horrible crime to a child at my front door.
Right.
And also,
know?
I will never see or know what happens.
Right. I'm just going to do it and be tickled by it. And also, I'm going to take these expensive drugs that I like. Like the whole thing of like, drug dealers are going to give your kids Molly.
Yeah.
Because it looks like candy. I'm like, what a horrible business model.
Right.
Are they trying to get them hooked on Molly?
Yeah,
The kid doesn't even know where it came from.
Yeah.
They don't even know what house to go to if they want to buy the Molly.
Yeah, right.
Plus,
Anyway.
a Reese's cup is Molly to a child.
Yeah. These kids love it.
And to a Brad.
Yep.
And to me.
Besides, isn't Molly really just kind of giving you a sensation of the innocence of childhood? I feel good and I'm entertained by everything.
Yes.
I like people again. So, maybe we should all do Molly.
Oh, yeah.
So here's my conspiracy. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Listener, viewers, are you ready for the truth? Well, here it is. I think who's behind all of these rumors is Big Candy. I think the big candy manufacturers. I'm looking at you, Hershey. I'm looking at you, Reese. You're not even a doctor. I think these people are making these stories up so you will buy fresh new candy every year.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Because I'm like, I want to make like good individual things that are like homemade and cool. But I'm like, well, people might be weird about that. But it's like, I guess I'll throw the money towards Big Candy.
Guess I'm going to CVS. You know what I mean? To get this stuff, Big Candy, I'm on to you.
Wow.
That's what I have to say.
That makes sense. Tangentially related, have you ever seen the Halloween episode of the television program Freaks and Geeks?
I loved Freaks and Geeks. I have seen it probably multiple times, but I just don't remember the beats.
The mom makes like popcorn balls, and nobody will accept them, and she is heartbroken.
Yeah,
and it is so sad.
Yeah. Now I remember.
Yeah.
Big Candy.
Yeah.
I showed Finn a couple of Halloween Roseanne episodes. This year because I love Roseanne and that show. Let me be clear. I love the show Roseanne. Man, no, I think that's one that really bums me out. Talking about like conspiracy theory world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because what she made was so amazing, and I wish I could like. That's a person I would love to. If all that stuff wasn't there, I would love to be like. I really want to do a show or something where like Roseanne's there, and I have a comic friend that had that experience. And it was before all this happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was like a medal that he wore that was like Roseanne said this was good.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
Right.
And then all this shit happened. It's like, oh no. And he took that medal off. And But yeah, that's tough. But we were watching it and they were making caramel apples.
Yeah.
To hand out to the trick-or-treaters.
Yep.
And it's like all that stuff's gone.
Yep.
Because of Big Candy.
Oh, wow.
Big Candy, I'm coming for you.
It sucks
I know what you're up to.
It sucks because that stuff would be nice for a neighborhood to have, especially like I think about my friend Laura, who's like an incredible baker. Like that'd be so awesome if she could make stuff and hand it out for Halloween. But like, obviously, I don't think parents would.
Man,
approve.
I bet trick-or-treating in like the 60s was cool.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me?
Maybe not actually.
Yeah, it's such a more narrow variety of candy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
What would be? Let's figure out what the prime trick-or-treating era was. It's got to be the 80s, right?
Yeah. I think
Early
80s.
70s?
I think we might
Early
be
80s.
talking. I'm saying like 1992 would be sick.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, are we incorporating costumes? Because like
no, just like what you get and what people do.
If you're
the 90s was pretty great, but it's hard because that was our child. Well, it was Chuck and I's childhood.
Yeah.
What was it like in the 50s?
It was. I got a lot of beans.
Yeah. I feel like it must have been great post World War II. Like people were just sort of happy.
I got a car one year.
Wow.
Yes.
Want to hear an interesting thing? We won't go down this rabbit hole too much because I know it's Halloween talk and we're in November.
Yeah.
Like a while ago.
Well, it's our Halloween hangover episode.
A while ago when I was making, I was doing like Halloween decorations when I was out of my house because of the house fire and I was staying at an apartment complex. One year I decided to take a big poster board. I don't know if you remember this. It was black, and I made like all gravestones and characters. I cut them out and I drew them and stuff. And I made gravestones for all my friends, and every gravestone had a joke about the person or whatever.
You made me a floating devil.
Yeah, that's right.
I did not have a tombstone.
Oh, that's right. And I remembered after that when I was really young, like because we were talking about when I was like the early 90s and my Halloweens, my parents had a Halloween party and they did the exact same thing with a bunch of tombstones in their basement of all their friends.
That's
and
fun.
they had a big they
Look
made
at that.
little things
You're a fucking
on it.
hack.
Isn't that
No, I'm
weird?
kidding.
Isn't that interesting though?
No, that's fun.
It's like you're influenced by that stuff without really being like, this is why I'm doing it. It's just in your mind, and then it comes back.
No,
that's
it's so
why
fun.
I'm always looking to burn a witch every year on Halloween. You're influenced by what you grew up with.
That's why I'm always convinced that all of the costumery that I do see are actual dead people coming to drag me to hell.
Yes.
And so I need to dress up as some kind of dead creature,
Right.
so they don't realize
Yeah,
I'm
so
a
they
living
pass you
person.
over.
Yeah.
But no, I'm all about tradition.
Yeah.
I'm all about tradition. You got to take your eldest up to the top of a mountain, you know, and you be like, "I'll do it." You hold a knife over them, and you go, "I'll do it," and you look up at the clouds, "I'll do it," and you wait and you hope that God's like, JK.
Yeah.
I was just checking. I was checking to see if you were like really down. Are you my BFF? Are you ride or die? Kill your kid.
There's
I got a weird interpretation of the Bible.
Yeah.
But no, it's that's why it was that's not King James. It was the King Jim book version. But no, it is a thing. I wonder about that, and it did kind of depress me a little bit last night thinking, or 8 days ago, thinking about like how that's become a thing.
Yeah.
Because it is nice when you get to go see the people and
Right.
you connect with them and you know you do that kind of thing. And there are people that Finn knows and they know him.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they gave him something, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine.
Right.
I know, that's true, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, like if you went to like, you know, like Kalina's brother's house and they're like, we're doing this year, and they had a cool thing, because you trust them, you would let them do it. But yeah,
I wouldn't let him have anything from them.
yeah.
I don't trust them.
Yeah, that's true.
My in-laws?
Yeah.
I don't trust them.
Yeah.
It would
Nope.
be fun though.
I conceal carry for the holidays when we have like Thanksgiving this year. I need you to know when I'm having my Thanksgiving dinner, I have a pistol
Oh, okay.
hidden
In the turkey.
on me.
Oh,
Chuck does conceal.
Let me just get the giblets.
Chuck does concealed.
the turkey?
Good. I was gonna do Chuck does concealed carry, but it's Parmesan cheese.
I did for Christmas. I do that.
Yep.
His gun is the Olive Garden.
Yes.
Grater.
Freeze.
Back into the holster.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was my thing. A real PS Ray.
Yeah.
Please just walk.
Yeah.
Hi, the 6'7" morbidly obese man with a bulging disc is saying just take a stroll through the neighborhood. Okay?
Yeah.
Get out of your fucking car. It was so mad.
Oh,
Yeah.
kill me.
And now the difference is like now the older kids come out later, and now I know when it's shifted because I can see the phones floating in the dark.
That's funny.
Isn't that
that's
depressing?
funny. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
And it's just like kids like, oh my God, I was in that. Oh my God, Mackenzie was in the back. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh.
That's
Even
funny.
Finn was like, oh my God, with these kids. But yeah.
bitches.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
like,
whoa,
I
whoa.
know.
And I'm like, I know. And we fucking did a fist pound. We fist bumped, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty
Hey,
cool.
Dad, did you see those? Dad, did you
But
see
would
those?
ya? And you're like, yeah.
Oh, no. And then I asked if I could bum one of his cigarettes.
Dad, did you see those 20-year-olds?
Crazy. They're twice our age. He thinks of you as like his buddy.
You know, I was joking with Kalina about this last night.
Yeah.
Because my son has started recently really referring to her as mom.
Yeah.
Instead of mommy.
Yeah.
And like she's kind of sad about it, but
Yeah.
for her it was really like when he was a toddler he would say mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was really sad when it switched to mommy.
Yeah.
And for me, he still says daddy, but he'll refer to, if he's referring to me with her, I'm dad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was saying, I don't like dad. I don't like dad. Daddy's fine. I don't like dad. And she's like, why? And I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I never had an association with daddy.
Yeah.
So for me, daddy is a really good father and son relationship.
Wow.
I'm happy with this.
Yep.
I do have a problem with my dad.
Yeah.
And so that's muddy. Where I go, no, I'm not that.
Yeah.
I'm this.
That's
Isn't
funny.
that weird?
Yeah, that's funny.
And then I was thinking about it, and whenever I'm referring to Kalina to Finn, I say mommy.
Yeah.
I don't say mom. He'll say, like, I just talked to mom, and I'll be like, oh, you talked to mommy already?
Yeah.
Like something like that.
Yeah.
And I realize I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to call you mom. I have one.
yeah, of
I
course.
call her mom.
Of course.
You're not my mom.
I have a little...
You're my wife. What kind of sick relationship do you think this is?
What do you think? We're the Pences?
I have a little bit of that because
I will call her mother.
Yes.
my grandparents are Nana and Papa.
Yep.
And my nieces call my mom Nana now. Like the
Yeah.
Nana has, and they're like, we saw Nana, and I'm like, oh, cool, and I'm like, oh, you mean mom? Like,
Yeah. You mean my mom, you fucking idiot? Right?
I call her Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
know,
yeah.
I did that a long time ago.
It
but-
is. It is a weird thing.
Oh,
That
that's
is-
funny.
Yeah, that is fun.
The idea of a little bit of ownership over the specific titles.
Yeah. So I think when Finn hits 10,
Yeah.
I don't think he should be saying daddy anymore. I think that's
Yeah.
probably a little
Sir.
too much. I told him last night because we were talking about this. I said,
Father.
you can call me Mr. Harrington.
What do you
And
say
then he
about
started doing it just as a joke,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
and
of
it
course.
was very fun. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I want to say Finn. Yeah, it was a lot of that
That's-
stuff, but it
that's
was
funny.
good. I don't know. He's eventually it's just going to be dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It does genuinely kind of fuck with me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
yeah.
no, I'm this other thing.
Yeah, but
he
you know
can
what?
call me Zaddy.
After I bet
Poppy.
after like a small amount of
No.
time, like 2 years of calling you dad, that will replace your dad feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, my bad dad feelings.
Bad dads.
Bad
Yeah.
dads.
Yeah.
Ooh, Baghdad.
My dad used to always like when I was young, he used to like yell at me to like clean my room, do like whatever chores.
well, it's
and
so slippery on the floor. in there.
Whenever he would
And that desk is a mess.
whenever he'd get mad, I would take out my old VHS camera and film him. And I had, you could make the writing on it,
Yeah.
like "Happy Birthday." I would make it say "Mad Dad" in flash, and he's in my phone as Mad,
Mad
Dad.
Dad. Yeah.
That's very fun.
Right?
That is very fun. Yeah.
so
So thank you for hearing out the PS Ray and
Happy
the
to.
and the conspiracy thing. I think we should lean into the conspiracy stuff.
I'm
Pull
with
in
ya.
some more listeners.
Yeah.
And then think about it when the inevitable big expose article and documentary a news show
Yep.
come out about one of us and their exploits. We'll have the backing of our big conspiracy following.
Yeah.
And so we don't
You'd be
have
like,
to
"We
worry
didn't even
about
do
it."
this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and they'll
why would they
believe
come
it.
after me?
Yeah, and the important thing is buy this shirt that says I'm innocent,
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And we'll still reap the benefits
Right.
financially.
Like that party is being framed by Big Candy for exposing their secrets.
Yes.
There's no way they did that to those people.
You know what? We don't know which one of us is going to really be taken down. I mean,
we have
guessed them.
suspicions, yeah.
But-
Yeah.
but I think
66-33-1.
Let me put it this way. You just went to Vegas. Did you check the odds?
One of the things I'm thinking, if we start selling Ray is innocent, Chuck is innocent, Brad is innocent shirts now,
They'll
as
be
soon
out
as,
there,
soon as
yeah.
the news comes out, people can start supporting.
Yeah.
We'll do them all a little different. Like Chuck is innocent, Ray didn't do it, and it's like you like this, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like.
But then nobody will see the motion of it, so it'll just be me going
There'll be motion lines.
pointing to somebody's armpit on a shirt.
that's fun.
Yeah, I do like Brad is innocent. For some reason, because Brad is innocent,
Yeah.
I like the idea of a shirt that literally says Brad is innocent.
No way, I'm a bad boy.
I'm a Brad boy.
we did
Wait, we established you're Bat Boy.
It's on my fridge.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're feeling frisky, a brat boy.
Yeah.
So there is a main meat story of this episode today that we're going to tell.
Yes.
I'm very excited for this.
Roast beef.
I'm gonna.
What is it, and how much of it is bad?
But we haven't really talked about the trip to Vegas that Brad and I just took.
That's right, yeah.
And we waited to tell Brad the podcast and tell
You
the whole
did a
story.
quick marriage.
Yes, it was fast.
And a quick divorce.
And a quick annulment.
Yes.
Yeah. Luckily, it's the second drive-through window in the same chapel.
Yeah.
What's hard for me is I talked to both of you before you left.
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck, what you were talking about, you were calling it like it's very much the Saved by the Bell wedding that happened in Vegas.
Yes.
The Vegas wedding miniseries that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was talking to Brad, he was clear it was very much oh no! What is it called? The movie where Nicolas Cage wants to drink himself to death. So
Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas. The joke, it was there and it was good. So let's all think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Moment of silence for me forgetting that name.
So we wanted to tell the story of our trip because it's very interesting. And I want to say, kind of leading up to this, there's a couple of things I want to talk about that kind of led up to how important this trip was as after we planned it, which is really interesting. So basically there was this big festival going on called When We Were Young. And it just started recently, which was 2022. It was the first year. And I have actually never traveled to go to a big music festival. Mm-hmm. Have you traveled to go to one?
No.
Never?
No.
Have you ever traveled to one?
No.
For me, it was like every year I would go to Warped Tour when I was younger, and my band played Warped Tour. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's different because it consistently stops in different places. So
Yeah.
you go
I went to the X Games, but that was it.
Exactly. It took tours around
in
there.
The X Games.
Yeah. You landed that 900. Sick.
Thank you.
Well, one of the things I want
No one thought I could do it.
I kind of want to bring up is like, I don't know how much I've talked about senior discount on the podcast. I don't know if it's very much on
not much.
Funbearable.
Yeah.
No.
But basically, like around 2003, 2004, when I graduated high school and started going to college, I started a band with a couple of my friends called Senior Discount, punk rock band. And we played consistently probably up until like the pandemic. And we had a lot of fun. We played up and down the East Coast. I would consider us like a regional band. Like we played a ton, through Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, whatever, all that stuff, New Jersey, New York, Vermont. And
New Hampshire.
we had New Hampshire. We had like a ton of, we played like hundreds and hundreds of shows. But throughout playing those shows, we got to actually meet and play with a lot of bands that I grew up with liking a lot. You know what I mean? Like, which is really like, it was really important to me. It was really fun for me. Two Live Crew.
Too short.
The Wiggles.
The Wiggles was a big one for you.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those bands.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
Same show.
Yeah.
Huh.
But who we played with? Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
You're right.
There was a period of time right before college for me, the year I took off between, where I look back now. It wasn't until I went to college where I started to like develop actual like musical taste.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like this and I like that and stuff like that. Before that, it was I know I had bad taste in music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than a certain like a batch of stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Like Offspring and things like that. Early Sugar Ray. I like that kind of stuff.
Mean Machine.
Hell yeah, Long and Green. But there was like Jimmy's Chicken Shack. To give you an example of where my musical taste was, I was like, this is the best. Jimmy's Chicken Shack. That's where it's at. Watch these guys. They're going to be big.
Yeah.
Right?
It's funny though, because with those one hit wonders, like
Two hit wonders, please.
with Do Right, and what was the other one?
You know,
probably was one.
There probably was one. They had one that they said fuck a lot in.
I mean, I like a lot of like I think Do Right's a great single, especially for the time period it came out. Great single.
Dynamite Hack.
Dynamite Hack.
There's a one-hit wonder.
They covered what's the NWA song.
Yeah.
One time we went to Lupo. We played at Lupo's in Providence, which is like a bigger venue. It holds like 2,000 people. It was this Lupo's at the Strand, which is the second location. And they asked us to play this show. I don't remember who it was that was the headlining act, but the direct support was Sting's son.
Fiction Plane.
Fiction Plane was the name of the band, and it's Sting's son.
Fiction Plane?
Fiction Plane.
And
Plane.
I went into a corner like near the stage, and I was like, I just got to do a big fart, Sometimes you need to do it, and I did it, and then Sting's son came and stand next to me, and I kind of farted on Sting's son.
Hey, that's kind of cool. And his new name is Stink.
Oh, that is so.
It's bad. You guys are a bad influence on me. You know? I mean, what's my other option?
I hate that you constantly you're like tell a terrible joke, then be like, "Oh, that was you guys."
Yeah. You're a bad influence because you know why? I'm playing for the audience that I have. You know what I mean? I know the audience. You gotta play to the room. Play to the room, right?
It's you guys.
It was either that or I was gonna say he started going, "Who could it be now?" But I don't think that was Sting. Was that Sting?
I have no idea.
No, I don't think so.
No.
But so Senior Discount played for a long time. Like
I'll be smelling.
there's a lot of stories there, and a lot of my film work came from Senior Discount because early on we kind of were like, man, there's so many bands. How do we differentiate ourselves? And because I was so interested in film and I was going to school for it, and I had made short films, that became a big part of our identity. And we almost kind of considered it like we were a band and a group of filmmakers, and we went back and forth.
Yeah. And we're going to release all of those videos this week.
No.
All right?
No.
Isn't that true?
No.
Because Chuck has shown me some clips, and I can't wait for you to see them.
Oh boy, we'd be so canceled.
We would.
Look, we've all got skeletons.
So
This is a graveyard.
anyway, we get to
Smash.
We get to play with a lot of bands that we looked up to over the years, and that was awesome. And we eventually got signed to the drummer of Less Than Jake's record label, which was awesome. And like I kind of considered that where we hit like a pinnacle of like we're on like one of our hero bands like signed us to a record label with all these other like Fun was on the record label, all these different bands. And then when COVID hit, and I had already kind of really started making my career more of film and comedy and stuff like that, it kind of just made sense to pivot towards that. And so now I don't consider Senior Discount broken up. We're just like inactive. Maybe we'll play a show once in a while. Who knows? But it's a huge part of my personality because I started the band when maybe I was like 19-ish, and it went until I was like, I don't know, let's say if it lasted for 15 years until I was like in my mid 30s or whatever. And but punk rock and like those like shows and like the shared experience of live music and all that stuff has always been huge to me.
For sure.
I think because of my time, like not only going for years before that, but then taking part in it. But I think what happens too as you grow older, I think this is for everyone across the board, you experience that stuff a little bit less and less. It takes less precedence in your life. The more responsibilities you have, the less time you spend going like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And going to a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So when this concert came up, this When We Were Young festival, I think it started last year as like more of an emo festival, which is not really my scene. Like I don't really know a lot of emo bands. But for some reason this year, it was a lot more punk and pop punk bands that were exactly the influences that hit me and a lot of the stuff that Brad likes a lot too. Yeah. And the headliners were Blink-182 and Green Day, which are two of my favorite bands. And then throughout the show was just like, we'll get to it. There was like tons of bands that are huge in that scene that we either have relationships with, we've seen a million times. Like the band that helped us become a band, like literally gave us our first show, got us our first tour van, got us our first show at like a 2,000 cap venue. That band was led by a guy who is now in 30 Seconds to Mars, and he's still my friend. And so there's all these different things that were like, I'm like, man, this is so cool. And so about a year ago, I think it was about a year ago, I was like, there's so many bands on this. In my decades of going to shows, I've never seen so many bands I like on one show.
Yeah.
And I've never traveled for a festival. I'm 38 at the time. I'm like, maybe we should just go to one. You know what I mean? It's not like this is a yearly thing, and every year we're dropping so much money on this. I've never done it my whole life.
Yeah.
And we're probably not going to do it. At some point, you're not going to do it anymore.
There was no maybe when you communicated this to me. You said, we got to go to the show.
And I was like, well, Brad would go. And so I asked Brad if he would go. And there's also...
He told me I was going.
And there was also...
I think there's a difference there between asking you and telling you, but I think the difference comes from within you and not within Chuck.
I will say, too, tons of bands I like, but then there was a large list of bands that I know a little bit that Brad loves.
That's true.
Like bands that I know that he has either wanted to see and missed out on.
Yeah.
They'd had John Philip Sousa marching band music for you?
Yeah, they passed out the sheet music to everyone.
Holy cow.
It was pretty great.
Brad brought in the recorder.
You just imagined it. You just imagined it.
So I was like, we talked about it and we're like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
It's a one-time thing, it's let's just go see if this is good. And I also not confident we were going to have a great time. I'm like, we're going to Vegas. It's going to be fucking all day in the heat. Like, who knows if this is going to be like a shit show? Like, I don't even know if the festival is well organized. You know what I mean? There's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So we bought tickets like a long time ago. And during the time after that, leading up to this thing where Blink-182 and Green Day were the two headliners, Blink-182 basically announced their new album, and then they started releasing music from it, and it was like huge. And one of the things that people actually wrote to me already, and they're like, "Are you going to talk about this on Funbearable?" was that Blink-182 released a single, I guess about a month and a half ago now, called "One More Time." I don't know if did you see it come out at all?
No.
It was huge. It's a slow ballad from them as a single, and it's them telling the story of their breakups and what got them back together. And the song is kind of about appreciating what they have and what they've done and what they are to each other. And the whole video uses the Mandalorian technology, and they go back through all their old videos and the most important moments in their career, like Warped Tour 99. And it's like the first time I saw it, I had tears in my eyes. I was fucking losing it. Everything on YouTube that I'm seeing is people being like, Blink-182 is like, they're killing it. A couple days before Coachella, which is a very big festival, happened this year, last minute headliner, Blink-182, and they like fucked up the whole festival because so many people went to go see them at once. And for the first time, this is really interesting, I feel very similar about Blink-182 and Jackass. Jackass was always shit on growing up by publications and like the media and like the critics of this thing, Blink-182 as well. And then Blink-182 comes back at Coachella this year, and Rolling Stone is like, Blink-182 returns to save Coachella. And all the publications have turned, which is what happened with Jackass 4.
Sure.
All the reviews were the best reviews of any of the movies.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's because the people writing those things now
were the people that grew up with
that stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
Real quick, I do want to point out, you said you were in a band.
Yeah.
I just want to throw this out there while we're in a moment of pause here. I was in, I wasn't going to say, I was doing a joke. Yes, I was in a band thing. It was Travesty in Training. It was an acoustic comedy duo.
Yes.
That's how I started doing comedy. Whatever. That's fine. It's fun. All of those songs go with your vault of videos of inappropriate.
Let's keep those out of the public
sphere.
Star
one that I'd love to hear.
Yeah, that's that one. Oddly, like that was the popular, like that was our NWA cover, basically. That was our big thing. People wanted to hear it. It was called Short Bus. It's not good.
I guess if we're talking about skeletons, I used to be in Two Life Crew.
I knew it.
I used to be a skeleton.
So, I was in the video for Spooky Scary Skeletons. No, but so the joke that I wanted to say, I was actually in. We had a really good idea for this. Our ticket sales were fantastic, but we never had return customers, and we had a lot of complaints, and we had very firm no refunds on the tickets because people got annoyed. It was two bands together, and I still say this was genius. This was marketing genius. We fucked up, but that's okay.
It happens.
It was two bands,
right?
And it was Counting Crew and Motley Crows, and we got a lot of people to go. That was the response people had. They would clap. They'd be like, "Whoa, these two bands together? Wow."
It seems a little different musically.
Oh yeah,
I know, but
I
it's
do
still
remember
fun.
Mr. Brownstone and Me.
Oh,
that's not bad.
So close. Mr. Brownstone was a Guns N' Roses song.
Oh, that was pretty close. Though.
It was.
Yeah,
it was. Feel good.
That was
Mr. Feel Good.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But it was Motley Crows and Counting Crew.
Yeah.
And a fun little musical side note about Ray. Senior discount when we played our album release party for when we got signed in 2018, I think. I would do this thing. We would do this song to close, and I would go in the crowd, and we would get this big thing going. We've done it a bunch of times. It's very fun, but I need someone to take over on guitar when I do that because I play rhythm. And I wanted Ray to be the person that took over on guitar for that show, but he already had a headlining weekend planned. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
It was outside at
Well, it's Fishco Whiskey. The
Whiskey Republic.
Yeah.
The Dr. Murphy's bar that they own in Rhode Island. I wanted Ray to be the person to come play guitar on that, but you couldn't. That would have been. Imagine if we had that footage, right?
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
I hid behind the merch table.
The show was like that was the best filming we ever did. We had like drone cameras. The show looks fucking awesome. I put out a couple of videos, but I should edit the whole set. But anyway, leading up to this thing, it's like okay, we got tickets for this festival. And all of a sudden, like Blink, who I always loved, main influence of like why we started a band, like they come out of Coachella and they fucking murder it, and they're so good. Like it was unbelievable to me. And I wasn't even planning on watching that Coachella thing, which they streamed live, which is why I think so many people got to see it. But I was with Jen, this girl I was dating at the time, and she's like, "Oh, you want to watch this live tonight?" We were at my house, my apartment, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever." I'm like for me, I'm like, I'm gonna go see Blink live, so it's not a big deal to watch them like live stream this show. But watching them, that was the first time they played back together of the original lineup that got really famous. And I was emotional about that when we watched it at my apartment. They killed it. Obviously, like I said, the next day just flooded articles about how great they are. A while later, leading up to this festival show that we're going to, they released that One More Time single. And it's incredible. The music video is incredible. Like, they're doing all this stuff that's like huge, which is really weird because I think it's very possible to come do that stuff and make new stuff for a band like that and just get shit on. Mm-hmm. It's very like Limp Bizkit tried to do a reunion tour like 2 years ago. I by the way, I guess Limp Bizkit's doing okay now, but
I think that's such a different sphere.
Yeah. You know what I think? I think that Limp Bizkit is so far into a specific niche of a trend.
Yes.
Whereas like punk rock can exist for decades and decades and decades, but that like new rap metal had like a 5-year window or something. Right, you know what I mean? But they came back, they killed it. And so I'm getting all excited. You know, we're watching the new videos come out. They released like 4 singles, I think, before the show. And then they announced the album drop date for their new album. And it was 48 hours before they headlined When We Were Young. And I was like, this is going to be fucking amazing. I'm flipping out. You know, I'm flipping out. Brad's getting more and more nervous as time is going.
That's correct, yes.
Because we had to fly to Vegas from 2 separate places. I'm coming from New York. He's coming from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, a lot of things. We didn't have a place to stay for quite a while. I don't have an income, and so I'm like, well, I got to buy plane tickets that are progressively getting more expensive.
No one's buying those feet pics?
No one's buying the feet pics.
I keep telling you, you got to change up what you're putting on.
I know.
And what you're stepping on.
I know. Crocs and Crocs.
It's not working.
I'm stepping on crocodiles while wearing Crocs. But you know, and I mean, I don't travel well. I don't vacation. Yeah. Hardly ever.
You're like a fragile vase. It doesn't travel.
It does not travel well.
Yeah.
So as we're getting ready for this, we're making plans like, okay, I'm leaving Providence at X time. I'll arrive in Vegas at Y time, and Chuck's leaving at Z time, but we'll also arrive within 10 minutes of Y time.
Yeah, so Brad kind of set up his flight first, and I sent it to my mom, and I'm like, get me the same kind of flight, whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so she...
I know. If there had been a camera for me to Jim when he told me that...
Yeah.
So she
really wanted to embrace like how much you loved that stuff from high school. So you were like, I'll treat this trip like it's high school.
I'll also say
Brad
he
will
may
be
have
my
sent
chaperone.
His mom reached out to me and said, "What are your flight things?" So I don't even think he sent my flight things to her.
I was like, just talk to Brad.
Just talk to Brad, Mom.
You know, we got
Pat.
Yes. We got turned down for a bunch of Airbnbs and like Verbos.
Turned down?
The people we wrote and they never responded. Airbnb, Verbo, Booking.com. And so Chuck's like, all right, I got us this hotel. It's the cheapest I could find.
Okay, and let me just...
I won't stay at the cheapest you can
So
find.
let me just explain. I think the reason we got turned down for all these Airbnbs is because...
Turned down for what?
I was thinking the exact same thing. I think it's because like I don't have any reviews, I guess. Because you just send out a thing and you're like, can I stay here? And they just never responded. And it happened to both of us for a total of like 4 times.
Yeah. Huh.
So I got this little hotel that was like, I was like, well, let me prioritize being close to the venue because I don't know how it's going to be for travel. It's this huge festival, like tens and thousands of people. I was like, I don't know how, even if you're like, well, we'll just get an Uber, like, but there's not going to be 50,000 Ubers. You know what I mean? Like, what if all these people need things? So got a hotel close there. So the day of going to the When We Were Young Fest, like the travel day, this guy losing his mind.
All right, so I wake up and it says your flight from Providence to Baltimore has been delayed. And I'm like, uh-oh, but my flight from Baltimore to Las Vegas has been delayed. I'm like, no problem. I still have an hour layover in the Baltimore airport. I get in at 7 Vegas time instead of 6 Vegas time. And I'm like, oh, and I get to stay at home for an extra half an hour before I leave for the airport. And then I was driving to the airport, got an alert, flight to Baltimore, delay a little bit, 10 minutes. And then Chuck called, and he was having issues as well.
So tell me what you think about this. Going to the airport. First of all, I'm going to LaGuardia.
Your body language shifts when you know you're in the wrong.
I'm not in the wrong.
You start to talk as if you are on one of those like third tier judge shows as a defendant. And it's like they're not even a judge, so they can't call the show like Judge Gwyneth. You know, they have to be like Ruby sets the rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Pall Mall presents.
No, you'll agree with me. I mean, you might not agree with the first thing I say, but you'll agree with the overall.
okay.
I Googled. I said, okay, LaGuardia. How long does it take to get through security? I looked it up.
Yeah.
It said 15 minutes. I said, okay, whatever. I'll get there about like an hour before the flight.
That's way too short.
Okay.
Way too short.
Oh, yeah?
For LaGuardia?
Okay, let's see.
Oh yeah, tough guy. Let's find out.
let's find
I mean,
out what
maybe you
happens.
made it, but usually.
No.
Oh, okay.
I get there. Now we had some complications on the way there. I didn't get there quite an hour early. So I get there. They moved my flight earlier by 6 minutes.
That's awesome. That's so cool when they move it up and you're already there because you got there ahead of time and you're there when you're supposed to be. Because it would be insane to arrive within a 6 minute window of when the flight is boarding.
So
Is it boarding or when it's done, when they close the doors?
I mean, I think it's everything. You know what I mean? They're leaving 6 minutes early, so everything gets mixed up.
Okay. Because you know, if your flight time is like 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
doors can be like, the closing doors can be like 2:45.
Yeah. It was everything was moved up 6 minutes.
Okay.
I believe it was supposed to leave at 1:03 and it left at 12:57.
Okay.
So I go to the front desk and they're like, oh, you're 5 minutes late for check-in. I go, I'm 5 minutes late. They're like, well, your plane was moved up by 6 minutes, so you're 5 minutes late. Which I'm like, well, I don't like that. It's because that's not fair. It's definitely not fair to be like, we moved your flight up early and now you're late by less than that time frame. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, what do you think?
No, I think the whole system of flights is a big, giant nightmare shit show. And so the only recourse that we have as passengers is to get to the airport as early as possible to make sure any of that bullshit gets taken care of. You know what I mean?
So,
like, I had a layover coming back from Alaska, that nightmare flight.
Yeah.
Overnight from Alaska to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I had a certain window of time for my layover, and they changed the gate and terminal 3 times.
Yeah.
And I had to get on their little subway train 3 separate times to go to another terminal. And it's like, well, it's flights. They suck. This is what happens. You know what I mean? And it is a shitty thing.
So we moved it up.
Arriving that close, arriving at an airport for a flight with a 6 minute window of error is, to me, a fucking nightmare.
Well, it wasn't.
Gives me anxiety.
Okay,
so
much.
Much.
It wasn't really because I was there 45 minutes early, and so I went to the front. They're like, your flight was moved up 6 minutes, which makes you now 5 minutes late, which I think is ridiculous. And I was like, really? They're like, yep, yeah, no, and they were dicks about it. They're like, yeah, I don't know, you should have been here. I don't know, and I'm like, you know, I Googled how long it takes to get through security here, and it said the average time is about 15 minutes, and I'm here way more than that. And the girl next to me that worked at the airport, like the person, she's like, 15 minutes. Okay. Oh, you Googled it. Okay. And she's being a total piece of shit. And I went, you're right. Should have just come down here and went through the security for fucking fun, right? Instead of Googling it. And so then they said, they're in the wrong but for A, moving up my flight and making me late by less than that amount of time, and B, being a dickhead to me. For sure.
Okay.
Do you think that?
I wasn't there, so I don't want to say what I think about the situation.
What do you mean?
I think if I was standing in the security line that was going really slow, and I heard somebody next to me
it's not the security
say,
line. This is just at the B front. Yeah,
I know. But if I heard somebody say, I Googled the security line and it said it's only 15 minutes,
Yep.
I would personally feel like I wouldn't just Google how long does it take to go through security and say that that's the time.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, of course.
And see if that direction of laughing at this customer who you moved up, the airline moved up their
Hold
thing.
on, I didn't say that.
Yeah, but that was crazy.
What the fuck is going on right now?
Well, I said I asked you what you thought about that,
And
you're
I said
like,
I'm not. I
you're like,
wasn't there, so I don't have I don't want to have a thought there. The only thing I
think
can
that
connect
no
with-
matter what, even if I
Jesus
wasn't,
Christ.
even if
you know I
was,
don't work for the airline. Chuck,
I know,
right?
but if I wasn't there and someone laughed at you in that way, I would think it's shitty. Even
Okay.
if I wasn't there,
I
just telling you.
I don't think it's good for any employee to laugh at someone.
Me too.
I don't think that's good at all.
Me too. And so I said that thing.
I don't.
Me too.
What? You know what? I don't want to hear the rest because this sucks already.
Well, that was-
you are coming at
No,
me.
that
like
was
I
hold on,
work
hold
for the
on, hold
airport.
on, hold on. The idea of me telling you that someone was so directly rude to me and you saying like I'm going to refrain from judgment because I wasn't there is definitely taking a very weird stance on it. So responding like, well, why would you not? If someone acted like that to Brad, I would feel that way. If someone acted like that to you, I would feel that way. Regardless of whether I was there.
I'm hearing it from a place where you're saying that they were shitty to you. Your response, the tone that you had in your response, sounded shitty back to them.
After they did to me, yep.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is a mess. I wasn't there. I don't know how it played out. I only know what you're telling me. And so I just said a thing about Googling the wait time at a security point.
Well,
why
see how
are
it
you
goes.
angry at me right now?
Because I think when you told your crazy travel story, if whenever you're like, this person said this crazy thing to me, I was like, I don't know, I wasn't there. It would be a little bit
I also didn't
confrontational.
look at you and go like, what do you think about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I was on your side right away, I guess.
I'm
It's fine. It's fine. We'll move forward.
Jesus
So
Christ.
here's what happened.
I can't wait to see the breakdown of this one.
So what happened was they said, we have to move you to a flight that's like 2.5 hours later than your flight currently.
Right.
And I said, are you sure you can't do anything? You moved it up by 6 minutes and I'm late by 5 minutes. You realize that means I'm on time for the flight that I bought
Yeah.
and was on time 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, nope. And I said, okay. And I said, I guess, and she did the laughing at me thing, which I think is very, very rude.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. I think laughing
Yeah.
at you is fucking shitty.
It was to say we moved your flight up 6 minutes. Now you're late by 5 minutes, and now we're gonna laugh at you after we do that.
Yeah,
to
no,
you.
that's
I think it's
absolutely
a
shitty.
lot. I think
Yeah,
it's,
I agree.
I think it's a very strange way of being like a customer service agent.
For sure, yeah.
So I went up to the
Well, notoriously, like dealing with the
believe
people
you
at the airport, it sucks. It all is bad.
So I went up to the security line,
Yep.
and it says from this point they have a little screen. Your wait time is 11 minutes. Mm-hmm. I said, oh, that seems like less than 15. We'll see. You know what? Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. I better time it myself. So I timed it, and it took 14 minutes and 36 seconds. Mm-hmm. But I got a good laugh at that for how silly I was. And so I got through my gate exactly in the amount of time
What
that
did you mean
by the
about
way-
how
by the way,
silly you were?
because the woman laughed at me like I was a fucking idiot.
okay.
I completely support timing it 100%.
Sure, yeah.
That, like as a Brad.
yeah, of course.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out that Google was right.
It's crazy because I think the idea of like there's a new level of like disorganization in like airlines within the past like 3 years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Where they're like, we will fuck you over. They did a thing to us where they moved our flight back 2 hours one time.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours, what was it? They moved it back 2
They moved it
hours.
back 2 hours, and then
They moved it up an hour while I was still in my house in Warren. And they're
Yeah,
like, well,
yeah.
we just moved it up 1 hour early, like within a couple hours of the flight.
Yeah. Oh no, it all sucks and
So,
it's bad.
so the fact
Yeah.
that she laughed in my face,
No, that sucks.
I don't mean to be mad at you, but I think it's outrageous, and it just bummed me out to hear you be like, I wasn't there, so who knows? That's all. That's why I get upset. That's all.
I know it was about a very specific moment in the story.
Yes.
I didn't even hear the whole thing.
It made me livid when she did that to me. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe that someone laughed in my face. After
I could
doing
tell
that.
it made you that mad because then you took some of it and pointed it at me.
It hurt. It hurt. It was.
Yeah.
I was surprised to hear you say you had to be there to understand if it was bad.
For that specific moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I meant was like, I don't know what was said specifically here or specifically there.
She wasn't even talking to me. She just started laughing at me.
This is how little I knew about the situation.
She was the person. She was the person next. She wasn't
Okay.
even. She was the next at the next kiosk.
Yeah, no, that sucks.
And
Yeah.
it's like a person that's like not even.
Yeah.
So anyway,
No, I agree. No, there are shitty people
Yeah.
that deal with that
Which
stuff,
is-
and they have this weird power that they can hold over you.
yes, that's exactly
And
what
it
I
sucks.
felt like.
Yeah,
and I
it's
was
bad.
like, okay.
But to
So-
be clear, like I knew so little about what you were saying. That's why I was like, I don't want to say anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
fine.
how this played out yet. I
Yeah.
want to hear what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
what I meant was I don't want to immediately be like, this is fucked up and crazy when I don't know what is fucked up and crazy. I didn't know when you were explaining this, you hadn't gone through security.
No,
yet.
this is just the front.
The way you were explaining it
You
was
thought it
as
was
if
after
it was
I went through
after
security? No, yeah.
That's why I was asking
this
about
is
the
me
security
walking
part.
up to the airport and then being like, you're late because we made our flight earlier.
I need a written apology for that
Oh, no.
outburst.
Oh,
it was
no.
ridiculous.
Oh, no. As soon as that happened to me, I'm like, Ray is going to not support me when I tell him this.
Do you want to hear the texts I received at 12:28 p.m.?
Were they yelling at you who had nothing to do with the situation?
It was, what time are you landing now? Mm-hmm. My shuttle got me to the airport 5 minutes after check-in. Earmuffs for people here.
Oh, that's the other thing.
So the dick bitches at the counter are forcing me onto a later flight. Mm-hmm. They are so rude. It's crazy. I want to tweet about these fucking assholes. And I'm like, tweet.
Don't do that. We just saw that situation not work out well.
So the thing that happened right beforehand is I parked at this place that's affiliated with the airport, and it's like shuttles on demand to the airport.
Yeah.
That's okay. I get there.
Did you stomp your feet on the concrete and go, I demand a shuttle?
I got there.
I just like the name.
I'm like, hey, I'm here to the shuttle. They're like, it just left.
Yeah.
I'm like, was there a time list? Like, what do you mean it just left? It says shuttles on demand. They're like, yeah, it just left. I don't know. I'm like,
who said this? Like an employee or somebody waiting?
They're the employee that was in charge of it. Then he was really nice. He's like, let me see what I can do. And then he came back and he goes, there's another shuttle. I'll just take you right now. And I was like, great. But it was a little bit hairy for a little bit. Anyway, so I get through and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait for however many hours. And I'm going to tell Brad.
Yes.
Brad's going to be nervous.
Yeah.
Brad already had his delays and move ups and delays and whatever.
Yeah, I said, at this point, I'm getting in at 6:37. But if this flight from Providence to Baltimore is delayed again, I will have to be booked on a different later flight. Right now, my layover in Baltimore is 32 minutes. And then Chuck said, no prob, Bob. Wait, you said if. I said, I did. I'll keep you posted. Then my flight got delayed again, going to see about rebooking. So at this point, I'm like, I don't have long enough in Baltimore. I need to reschedule my flight.
Yeah.
So,
and you always like to carve out time for some crab.
yes.
They're known for
Baltimore. Crab cakes.
I don't want to make any jokes anymore.
I went down and I talked to the woman, and she said, we can give you a 4-hour layover in Baltimore, and you'll get into Las Vegas at 11 p.m. I'm like, isn't there anything else you can do? And she's like, wait.
Notoriously, it's a town that shuts down very early.
Well, let me. I will say, just to give this perspective, we're going to a concert on Sunday.
Yeah.
This is Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, I am like, whatever
Yes,
happens,
it's not the end of the world.
We're not
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
late for fucking Sunday.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So we just have to roll.
She types
The
away.
dice.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Craps. She types. She says, you know what? I can get you on a different flight. It goes, you'll stay on the plane in Baltimore. It'll fly to Chicago. Then you get off the plane. You have an hour layover in Chicago. You fly to Las Vegas. You get there at 8, which is around the time that, Chuck's rescheduled flight is getting in. And I'm like, perfect. That's great. Plus, I know the Chicago airport. I feel comfortable in the Chicago airport. Let's do that.
They have hot dogs nearby.
They do. Chicago dogs.
Yeah.
Type. And then I stood up for myself because I was flying Southwest, and they're like, you're now in the C group. And I'm like, that sucks because I paid for the early bird check-in. And so I said,
I'm an early bird.
well, I said, hey, I paid for the early bird thing. And so she's like, you can board between the A and the B group. Just say
rolled her eyes
extra
first.
time. She did roll her eyes first, but fine. I don't mind boarding in that situation. Give me a window or an aisle, especially the longer flight to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So then I'm on a plane. I land in Baltimore. No problem. I'm doing great. Chuck's on his way to Charlotte no, he was on his way.
You were to see Good Charlotte.
Yes.
Rally.
For the concert.
They were there.
Yeah. Of course they were.
And then the fire alarm.
Of course they fucking were.
Fire alarm went off in the Baltimore airport
Yep.
for 45 minutes.
Oh shit, Omar coming.
So
That's a Wire reference
Yep.
because that all took
All
place
in Baltimore. Yeah.
So I went to the second airport and I get there and they're like, I go in the air and they're like, everything's on time.
Mm-hmm.
I land
And there's an air marshal waiting.
and they're like, so you remember how everything was on time? I'm like, huh? Everything's pushed back like a ton. And I was like, what the fuck is going? And I was so mad because the original thing, this wouldn't have happened if my flight wasn't moved up an hour before.
Yeah.
So I'm texting Brad. And the thing is, I kind of don't, like if it was just me flying there, I wouldn't have a problem. But we're meeting in Vegas and he's very nervous about traveling.
Right. Oh, plus, all right. So I land.
Did you pin a thing to his shirt?
I had mittens. Yeah.
Yeah.
If lost, return to. Unaccompanied minor.
Yeah.
It was unaccompanied major. It was, so I land in Baltimore and I'm like, all right, I'm letting people off the plane, no problem. And they get on, the flight attendant gets on the PA and says, this flight is not going to Chicago. If you're staying on this flight to go to Chicago, get off the flight. And I'm like, what do I do?
It was just you?
There were 6 people.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, what do I do? They're like, talk to the gate agent. And I'm like, okay.
So just to make it clear, I don't know if you clarified that. They told him to get on a flight.
No, I know.
And they drove him. They brought him to a different state than they told him the flight was for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It was. So I'm in.
How does that I don't understand how that happens.
I get off the plane. I go to the woman at the gate, and she's like, "Customer service."
Yeah.
You know, I said that nicer than she said it to me.
Yeah.
I go, and there's of course a line of people who have all been told this flight is going to Chicago. They're doing this, and then I see another gate agent, and I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to her. I went and talked to her, surliest person in Baltimore. And I was like, hey, like, I'm trying to stay positive. And she's like, okay, type. I can get you in at 11 p.m. Las Vegas time. So it's the original 4-hour layover. I'm like, I guess that's faster than driving because I'm pretty frustrated. But I don't want to be mean because she has all the power in this situation.
Yeah. See, this is a major issue with this stuff, right? And like, again, we were at the very beginning of the story. I didn't know where everything was going. Yeah. And it has soured me. And it has soured this room.
No, that's
and we're gonna have to get a sage smudge and smoke out this whole place. I'm upset. No, but I will say about this kind of stuff, it is incredibly irritating when they have the power, and you have no recourse whatsoever. Like your only recourse is what? Calling and being like, they were mean.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and then nothing's gonna really happen. And the other issue that I have with it is it's so chaotic, everything moves around, and here's my major issue. Because it's chaos and there are so many moving parts and so many people at so many different steps, even for a regular ass one no layover straight shot flight, there's multiple checkpoints to go through of people that have abilities to do things that they all go, I don't have an ability to do anything.
I know.
So if you talk to the front gate person, not the gate person, but like the little check-in desk. If you talk to the check-in desk, they're going to say, you got to talk to the gate agent. And if you talk to the gate agent, they're going to say, you got to talk to a flight attendant. Yeah. And, you know, or you get to the gate and they're like, oh, you should have talked to the person at the front. And it's that stuff over and over. No one has any... Because no one is specifically in charge of anything, everyone gets to go, I don't know, not my thing. I can't do it. And it's hugely irritating.
I finished with a surly woman. She has rebooked me. I once again asked for my early bird check-in. She rolled her eyes very much. And redid it.
But I'm an early bird.
That's fine. So I have my 4-hour layover now in Baltimore, which I had tried to avoid. And I went, I'm on the Southwest app. I find the phone number. I call and I'm like, look, I'm really upset about this. Like, your person told me, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, I see you on that flight. I'm like, yeah, the issue isn't the flight. The issue is your company inconvenienced me. And the woman on the phone could not have been sweeter. She was so nice. I got a $300 credit for future flights. I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Pretty good.
Must be nice.
And then there were...
On Southwest, that's like 4 flights.
There was a couple behind me who were supposed to go to Nashville or something. And they were rebooked through the surly gate agent and blah, blah, blah. And so I caught up with them. I'm like, hey, make sure you call and get credit for future flights. And they were very nice. I like them. But then, you know, I sat for 4 hours in Baltimore, stuffing myself with Arby's. Not healthy. Not a great decision.
No. So, God damn. If I saw somebody who was getting on my flight and he has stuffing their faces with Arby's, I'd be like, please don't sit next to me.
And he has travel diarrhea.
No, I don't.
Oh, travel diary.
Yeah, I have a travel diary.
Oh.
Writing down all the loose stools.
Yes. That's where I was going. With it. So
I did it so bad that the automatic toilet cleaner went off again.
Yeah. I board my flight.
I felt blue.
Chuck is on his flight.
Yeah.
Chuck is supposed to land at 10 p.m. Vegas time. I'm supposed to land like at 10:50 Vegas time.
Fine.
And so there's a little guilt on my thing of like, well, Chuck's going to have to like wait by baggage claim for me.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Once you're there,
but
whatever.
I'll say
If it was 7 hours, that's fucked.
yeah,
If it's 7 hours, then just go to the hotel.
Yeah,
I'll meet you there.
exactly.
compared to like if Chuck had made his first flight, he still gets there at 6 o'clock Vegas time, and I get in 5 hours later.
Yeah.
Which is
At
weird.
that point, I'd say go to the hotel.
Yeah.
So
You know?
what pissed me off so much in the beginning is like I have worked in so many customer service areas that like I know from that woman's point of view, they moved up the flight. It changes my 5-minute, 6-minute thing. It's so small that she should be like, listen, I don't have any control over this. This is just unfortunate. It's so close.
Yeah.
But the idea of then being like, I'm going to be a dick to you on top of that in a
Yeah,
different
absolutely,
direction.
yeah.
And then on top of that, I actually time it and I'm 100% right.
Right.
It was very, very frustrating for me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, them putting Brad on a flight that went to a different state.
That's crazy. Yeah.
If that was Home Alone 3 and they were like, well, this is what we're going to say happened, everyone would be like, fuck this fucking movie. That doesn't happen.
You know, they were like, all right, you're on flight number 3411 or whatever. And so the woman looks in the computer, sees flight 3411 going to Chicago. Our flight number changed when we landed in Baltimore. 3411 had already left Baltimore. So there, at some point, there were 2 3411s
Yeah.
in the air.
It's-
And so I don't know, I don't understand how that happens or how often that happens. I was looking up like flight number changes, how like, and there's no concrete
You know, I
answer.
got to be honest with you. Like, there was a period of time where there was real talk about airlines becoming a federal thing.
Yep.
Becoming a public thing and not private companies.
Right. I was wondering about this.
Yeah, much like a lot of like in Europe,
Yeah.
a lot of the train lines, like those are public.
Yep.
Those
Yes.
are government owned and operated.
Yes.
And there was talk about that for airlines, and there was a lot of like, it's going to be bad. Look at everything that the government runs. It's bad. It's bad. And I'm at a point now where I'm like,
It can't be worse.
is it worse?
Yes.
Or
Exactly.
is it better? I know it's going to be cheaper.
Yep.
And it'll at least be uniform.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? At least everything will have a system. I don't give a shit if I'm in a bureaucratic nightmare of communism.
Yeah.
Because right now, as far as I can tell, these private companies have the ability to fucking strip search me.
Yep.
I already stand like a snowman,
Provision
a snow
L3.
angel,
Yeah.
so they can scan my whole ass body.
Yeah, I
I
know.
already let them open my bag and wipe it down with like bomb rags or something. I already walk through literal men with dogs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
I just had that coming back from one of the last trips I took. I can't remember where it was now. It was. I was leaving, I think, Boston to go to Italy, and or something like that, whatever it was. But they had a system set up where they were like, keep your bag, don't open your bag or do anything like that. Keep your shoes on right now. And I thought this was the only moment.
Right.
It was a new spot where they just had a section of a hallway roped off with 2 drug sniffing dogs and their officers like walking back and forth as you walk through. Like it's an automatic scan.
Oh, yeah.
And the dogs sniff your shit and you walk through. And I was like, oh, is that security? That's cool. And then I get through and I'm like, oh no, there's regular security.
Yeah.
Now I have to do that.
Yeah.
So we already give up everything.
Oh, yeah.
And when you get on a flight, I understand it's for safety reasons
Yes.
that they have powers that
Yeah,
they need
yeah.
to, because people are trash and they're in a horrible situation. We've talked about this before,
Yep.
where all the anxieties and bullshit that all rise, and you're uncomfortable, and you're made more uncomfortable, and you're treated like shit. And of course, people are going to snap because everybody's on flights,
Yep.
and these things happen, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sucks. It's not
Yeah.
good. I'm ready to just be like, yeah. Give it to the post office.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yes,
You know what
exactly,
I mean?
yes.
It's only going to mean it's cheaper.
This is what I
fuck
kept,
off.
This is what I kept thinking the whole time. I'm like, why? I'm like, it's so weird because I think everything is just so expensive that there's a monopoly from the people that can fund these companies that
They
already
lobby
exist.
to make sure that
Yeah.
they can be private. We
Exactly.
already saw flight stuff get fucked up because there was a period of time in early airline days where there were more regulations on certain elements of this. I can't remember the specifics off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then that stuff was lifted and shit got crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that's when we get like little upcharge to death.
Yes,
right? We get
exactly.
surcharged to death.
Yeah.
They're trying to come up. The airlines are always figuring out how to take an inch from you.
Yes.
And how to give you less.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's it. That's all they're figuring out. How can we charge you for more stuff?
Right.
Yeah.
Now we have premium economy, which is just regular ass economy that we didn't fuck you a little harder with.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. Oh, how much is that? Does that sound reasonable? Is it like a $35 extra legroom charge? No. It's $300 more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
And
know.
stuff like
Oh,
that.
it
It's
was-
fucking wild.
It was maddening.
Yeah.
But
So this fits though with the conspiracy theory thing that I put out earlier.
Yeah.
Big
This
Candy
fits.
is behind the
Big
airline.
Candy is bad. Also, Big Airline we know is bad. So here's our conspiracy theory: fucking make airlines public. Make all of it public.
Yes.
Who gives a shit?
But so when
Let
we,
me ride a little USPS truck with wings.
so we land around the same time and it's fine. But the thing that like when I got to that front desk and they were like, we moved it up 6 minutes, so you're late by 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could be madder, but when that woman started laughing in my face,
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
I could
that's
kill
so
you.
shitty.
I
It's
could
so
kill
fucking
you.
shitty. Yeah.
and so
See,
we land.
I'm right there with you.
But-
I'm on board.
but-
It was
I heard the rest of the story.
it was crazy.
But you can't react in that. You
I
can't
know.
with it
No.
because they have the power to say, all right, then you're not flying at all.
Exactly.
Right.
So we land around the same time. Ends up fine. It's even better that we both were delayed to the
Right.
same time as opposed
Sure.
to one of us. Sure. So we go to the hotel. It's insane. I'm not kidding.
Oh
When
my god, we haven't even gotten to Vegas.
Yeah.
Ready?
This is gonna
Well,
be
we
a
have.
4-hour
Well,
episode.
I mean,
we're good.
we land and then we're like, all right, let's take an Uber. The line for Uber is like, I don't know, 90 minutes long.
I think we gotta shorten because
Yeah.
it's 35:03.
Take a cab to a sketchy hotel.
Well, so we go to this hotel. Ready? I'm not joking. We'll put the picture in the video. My bed is pillow, air conditioner on the bed. Like the window is
man.
so close that the air conditioner is resting on the mattress.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I can't even sleep like this. I'm like, I guess I have to sleep down there.
I walked in first, so I got the bed away from the air conditioner.
Fine.
Yeah.
So fine. So I'm like, you know what? It's not about the hotel.
Listen, if you sleep hot, that's pretty great.
But it's in your face.
Yeah.
If it was against my body,
Yeah.
sure. But like if I slept like that, I think I'd wake up sick.
Yeah.
So fine. We didn't really have any plans. Next day we went to the Punk Rock Museum, which is opened by Fat Mike from NoFX. I've heard about it. We didn't even think about it beforehand. I don't know why. I'm also of the mindset where like if you haven't been somewhere, if you're like, oh, we're going to Minnesota, this club, there's another thing in Minnesota. You know it's 9 hours away. You know what I mean? Like you
Right,
know, like
right,
you're
yeah.
gonna try to be
Yeah.
like, oh, let's do this too. How
Yeah.
But it was in walking distance ish. We walked a lot, but we walked there. Punk Rock Museum.
Technically, anything is within walking distance.
Can't
Just get a DUI. Get a DUI.
can't recommend it enough.
Yep.
It was so well done. I didn't know if it'd be like phoned in.
even if you're somebody who like just straight up hates punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you still go?
If you
Yes.
if you like history or punk rock, either one.
Okay.
But it was insane. Like they had like old stuff from like bands in the 70s, like their original bass drum heads. They
Yeah.
had Pennywise's Practice Space, all their stuff. And it was like
Winston
multiple
Churchill's breakup song lyrics.
His
they had
his hand
they
cut
had
off with
multiple they had multiple floors, like tons of stuff from music videos. And it's cool
I
because
will hate you on the beaches.
the truth is going into this, like my era of punk rock is probably like 1994 and on. I was born in 84.
Yeah.
So 1994, I'm 10. I don't really have a lot of connection to the punk rock of the 80s or the 70s. I respect a lot of it, but a lot of it's not for me.
Then you don't know where it comes from,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, exactly. So we're walking around. I'm loving it. I think they did a great job. And I walk into this room and a guy goes, Chuck, Tuesdays? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh my God. He's like, I was just at Gramercy. And so I met a Tuesday, and
was
that was
awful.
really nice. It was really fun. It was he's
I
a
thought you
nice
were going to
guy.
say somebody was like senior discount because
No.
of the punk stuff.
Tuesdays with
Yeah.
stories.
I was like, he's going to be insufferable. Somebody recognized me.
So anyway, punk rock, that was awesome. We went to a coffee shop that was really, really great, really nice. Brad said we walked into a Halloween party. I didn't notice. but apparently that's what we did.
We absolutely did, and you absolutely did.
I didn't notice. I thought they were just dressing silly.
There was a big sign that was like, staff Halloween party today. Come in costume. We're making witch treats, which were Rice Krispie treats dipped in like green candy. And Chuck didn't notice any of this.
I had things in my mind.
Well, listen, it's always a little circus up here. So when I see a little bit of circus outside,
we
I'm just like,
we
this is
walk in,
normal.
there's a woman dressed as a ringmaster. And Chuck's like, yeah, it's Vegas.
I thought she was the manager.
I thought she was the valet.
So anyway, great night at the Punk Rock Museum. Went out to
Yeah.
eat, had a great time. But really, like, we're like, it's really about Sunday, like, whatever. But I am like, man, like, is this going to be rough as fuck? Like, I remember Warped Tour. Warped Tour begins at noon and ends at 8 p.m. This begins at like 11:15 and ends at midnight, which is a much, like, it only sounds like it's like another 4 hours or 5. I guess that does sound like a lot, but it is a lot to add to 8 hours.
High of
Yeah.
93 on that day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're doing this smart. I'm like, I'm taking water bottles. We're drinking a water bottle every hour, we're choking it down. And we went to the show, got there early, got like inside. Awesome organization. Awesome, like tons of places that were shaded with seating, tons of options for food that was like acai bowls and like not just like eat this fried thing, which is like sucks.
Do you think part of that is, and this isn't a joke, this is a genuine question.
Yeah.
Do you think part of that is because the actual show it knows what their target demographic
I wonder,
is?
I don't know.
Right? Like it's literally called When We Were Young.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, look, young people, there will be young people. I'm sure there were.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of millennials that are getting on in age.
You know
right?
what I think, and this is just my guess. There's probably, especially after Woodstock 99, Firefest, all that bullshit, there probably are different big companies that are behind all the big festivals. And probably some of them are phoning everything in, cutting costs, making as much money as they possibly can. And there's probably some that are like, oh, we're going to have a lot more longevity if we actually make these fucking things palatable for the people that go. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
But walking in, they had a water bottle tent. They're like, all water bottles are free. Take as many as you want. And then everywhere they had stations to refill them. So that's
cool.
I
Yeah.
was like, that's really, really good. But we made our big list. And we saw all the bands we wanted to see. It was like the Ataris, Goldfinger, MXPX. Brad got to see
Something corporate, Motion
corporate.
City soundtrack, Relient K.
Yeah, and then the headlining bands were Offspring, Blink, Green Day, and the whole festival was 4 different stages. It was fucking so well run. Everyone was cool. Being in 93-degree heat in the sun all day is a lot.
Yeah,
no
yeah,
matter
yeah.
how well run it is.
Yeah.
But I think it was very, very as comfortable as possible, I guess
Yeah.
I'll say. And every band brought it. Everything was excellent in terms of the way that it was kind of set up and placed. And then I was like, I wonder how tonight's going to be. Like, are there going to be people who kind of skip out because they got here early and it's so hot and so much? Or is it going to be more people come at the end of the day? I didn't really know. And one thing that's really cool that's kind of unique to this festival, you can leave and come back whenever you want.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, especially if you fucking live in if you stay in a hotel that's like next door.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All the bands were great.
I think it was rude when you walked out of Noodles' solo song.
Yeah.
I think that was rude.
Jules killed it.
Jukebox. And then
I think
we
it was
left.
sad because you could hear him go, "Where are you going?" Like that. And that's sad.
So,
Do that to Noodles.
but we saw,
he's great.
Sum 41, Newfound Glory. It was fucking, everyone was great. We got to see
was
everyone sing.
Avril there to see some 41?
Avril was-
Wait, are they separated?
They've been separated for a long time. Avril was doing a residency in Vegas at the same time.
Yeah.
And she showed up at one of the shows and did something. And also, there was a vert ramp,
We're so old.
and
Yep.
Tony Hawk was there. And
Yeah.
he came out with Goldfinger and sang Superman.
That's fun.
Which
Yeah.
is fucking crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Now I feel old though.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
just said Avril was doing Avril Lavigne was doing a residency like she's Celine Dion.
Yeah.
And fuck, do I feel old?
It's Skater Man.
I already
It's not
think
Skater Boy.
Yeah.
before we recorded this, I'm like, we should call this episode When We Were Old. That's what we should definitely call it.
Yeah.
So So everything was very well organized. It was great. We had a great time. And here's what I thought was a great encapsulation of like the punk rock mindset that I appreciate. Mm-hmm. One person there was Michelle Branch, who sings the song like "'Cause You're Every."
Oh yeah,
and a couple other ones, and it's kind of outside of the genre.
Yeah, she was lighting up the Kohl's radio station, blasted in the department store, right?
Here's
I feel like that's where I heard that song so much.
Yes, and here's what's funny about it. I'm like, I wonder how that is gonna play. I don't know. All these Facebook groups leading up to it, when Michelle Branch plays that song, like everyone has to be there moshing. Everyone has to be there going insane. And the crowd for her was monstrous.
Yep.
And people were so fucking celebratory.
You know what's funny? That makes me think of a thing I saw recently. There was some show that was happening, and it was like a moshi kind of show.
Yeah.
And there was a group of people playing Magic the Gathering in the middle of the pit.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of moshing around it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's funny. But somebody reposted it on Twitter. They quote tweeted it. And what they said, I went, oh, fuck, yeah. That it kind of is where we are with like how the internet has affected culture. And it just said, I'm so sick of the fact that this country, or in this country, everyone's just doing a bit. Right? And I was like, that's
funny.
pretty dead on.
Yeah.
That's
pretty dead
funny.
on. It reminds me of the Michelle Branch thing. Like, let's all do it ironically.
Yeah.
But it was positive.
It was
I'm
very
sure it was very
positive. It was
positive
very
and good.
inclusive,
But
yeah.
it just reminded me of that idea.
Yeah.
And it does make me think about how much stuff happens that it's like, you're just doing a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. But
Do it for the gram.
we went over to the way that they had the main stage set up was like basically like screen, huge stage, screen, huge stage, screen. So that if you went in the middle, you could just kind of go watch back and forth and wouldn't even have to really move very much. So by the time it was like
You were the lucky Pierre of the show.
that's right. But by the time it got to be like the main headlining acts, I'm like, let's just fucking go there and let's just like park ourselves in the middle as up front as we could. I think the biggest crowd was for Blink, probably because they have so much new stuff coming out. Their album just came out. Whereas,
and they hadn't been doing stuff for a while, which is exciting.
Yes.
Green Day's kind of just been doing that.
and
thing.
Green Day's been consistent. And also, they're even though it's only 2 hours later, they are 2 hours later of this 12, 13 hour day.
Yeah.
And so I think the most excitement was for Blink. And they came out, they fucking ruled. They were killer. Might have been the funniest I've ever seen them. As a big part of their thing is being funny. Mark is just back from chemo, and he kind of,
Is that a festival?
yeah. But he had to relearn how to sing and do all this stuff. And
Chemocella?
yes, that's right.
Is that something?
And so they were killer. They always close with "Damn It," which is well, I guess this is growing up. And there was like crazy fireworks show, which was very, very fun. Obviously, all the stage stuff, and they always have closed with that for the past like almost 30 years. And lights went down. Mark Hoppus goes up to the mic and he goes, "We have one more song." And they played the sad song, the new one.
Oh yeah.
And all the screens were the backgrounds of all the videos that were for the thing. And it was fucking so emotional. You could hear people getting choked up in the crowd. Mark cried on stage at the end of it, and they united. And I was like, this is like outrageous. None of the Warped Tours even compare to this because they have to travel. So they have to do things that can be set up and taken down in one day into the next city, which is a lot more limiting than having a space. And then Green Day played, and Green Day fucking killed it. They did Tequila with a big tribute to Pee Wee Herman, which was awesome. I mean, they're an incredible live band. But really, like going in, I was like, this is going to be a taxing fucking 13 hours in the hot sun. And really, I felt like it couldn't have gone better.
It went really well. I sunblocked as often as Chuck drank a bottle of water.
Brad, we've been over this.
I was drinking sunblock. I did some of that as well.
Yeah,
You sure
Did some of that as well. And other little, like, Chuck and I were sitting on a picnic bench under the shade, and there was a guy just laying down. His head was like, I don't know, 6 inches from Chuck's feet. And, he's just kind of sleeping and snoozing. And, 4:30 p.m. And all of a sudden, he like turns and lurches underneath the table. And I'm like, oh, he must have like remembered that he forgot his keys under there.
And I knew he was just throwing up under me.
I had
under
no
my crotch.
idea.
And I'm just like, I'm patting this guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
like, what's overboard? What's helpful?
Yeah, Chuck's
Yeah.
like, hey, you know, let me know if you need anything, buddy. And the guy's like, my wife's looking after me. And Chuck's like, well, all right, well, let me know, man. Anything you need, just let me
Because
know.
she wasn't there.
Right.
And this guy's really.
Oh, man, I can feel her gentle hands patting me on the back right now.
I'm like, why
slowly
is
moving down my
Chuck, this
back.
guy got his keys. Why are you caressing this man? Nope, threw up.
You cock block Chuck in that moment.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So I mean, like that was crazy.
Yeah.
We met up with our buddy Nicole Paquette.
Oh,
She's awesome.
she's the best.
And she's
favorite.
funny. But it really, like, I was really like kind of brought back because I think, and I'm sure that Ray can really relate to this, when you get so involved with something that's your life, like comedy and like music was for a long time for me, so much of it
Mime work.
makes you jaded
Yeah.
and resentful of like shitty parts of
That's
it.
why I got out of mimery.
That it almost like it kind of cuts down on your appreciation that you first got into it because of.
Oh, yeah, of
And it
course,
starts
yeah.
to overshadow it sometimes.
Yeah,
and you got to
100%.
practice. You got to practice gratitude. You got to think about things.
Yep.
But it really kind of reintroduced like, holy fuck, like this is so important. This is so amazing. Like this was, you know, the dedication to this music and this kind of touching people was so big, and like something corporate's a band I'm not even like really connected to, but they were incredible, and they were like kind of, they've been inactive for a long time.
Yep.
They came back together to do this, all this different stuff, and then even the Punk Rock Museum really had to do with it. Fat Mike from NoFX, who's like one of the biggest people in the punk rock scene, he owns Fat Records. They weren't on the show; they were on their final tour, but he was there. And he's like a real like punk rock guy, because there is kind of like a little rivalry between like punk rock and like pop punk. And he's like, Blink-182 killed it, Sum 41 killed it. He's like tweeting and stuff like that. And Sum 41 went to the Punk Rock Museum after that night, and they went into the fake Pennywise practice space there, and they played a song with Fat Mike.
Oh, that's fun.
And like a bunch of people went back to it. But it was like truly incredible. It was like everything you would hope a festival experience to be. That is really hard to visualize and understand and kind of have a grasp on before you actually go and experience it.
Yeah.
But it was really, really
Yeah, it was a great
incredible.
show. Great show.
It was, and for Brad to walk away being like, even though I had to travel and sleep on a shitty bed and deal with all this stuff and be in the sun and be like, oh, I had a good time, they're doing something right.
yeah.
And I'm like, if they're doing it again next year with that good of a lineup, I'm really going to pressure more people to go. This year, part of me was even hesitant to bring it up to Brad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, tickets are $375. Flights
Yeah.
are going to be $750. And then we
Yeah.
have to stay, you know what I mean? It's a lot. But it was so much fun. I couldn't believe it. And it was also really fun to have Blink have this comeback and then be with them for that opening 48 hours of their new album coming out, with this scene that they were, if not the number one cornerstone of, within the top 2 or 3 cornerstones of this whole movement of people being into this type of music in this way.
Yeah.
And it was just very, very special. It was
Yeah.
it really touched me in a way that I was surprised.
No, that's great.
It was
I love
great.
it.
It was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
I
loved it.
I have some bad news about next year's though.
Who's headlining?
ICP.
We already got a couple of emails, and they have asked for Counting Crew and Motley Crue's.
I love
be
those
on
two
it.
bands.
Yeah. So
I do
probably
have
not looking
a
good.
question for you, Ray. Bootleg concert merch. Would you, like, I don't know, pay full price and support the artists and designers who make the merch, and like therefore the money goes to the band, or would
Yeah.
you rather save $10 and buy a shirt in which no money goes to the band and it just goes to a guy?
I think with knowing what merch is for performers, just
Yeah, yeah,
comedians and bands and stuff like that, musicians. Being a comic and understanding what merch is and why people do it and all that stuff. I would buy it from the legit person. If I was going to buy a bootleggy thing and didn't care about where it was going to, I would just buy it on Amazon.
Yeah.
You know.
So like,
What if
like
it was like
Oh wait, did I say a thing against you? Because now I don't want you to
What if
fucking
it was like a
throw a
there's
knife
there's
at
like
me.
a band touring and making money.
Yeah.
What if it was the festival that sold 65,000 tickets? Do you feel the same way about the festival in general? Is it the same? Or is it
I
a
mean,
little different?
so you'd think a cut of the
this, like
merch
this.
would go to the band.
So this is another situation where I don't know all of the details. I'm only hearing vagaries to prove your own points.
Yes.
So here we go again. I'm gonna withhold until I hear the full thing.
I bought official concert merch.
Okay.
Well,
And
basically-
that's the only position I am taking.
Okay. That's what you've said many times.
We were at the
Missionary.
We were outside the concert the night before because we were just walking around Vegas.
Yeah.
And they had some bootleg shirts. I liked them more than the official shirts.
Okay.
And I thought,
What did it say on it?
Well, it's like this, but it's not.
It's
exact.
it was when we were Yang, and it was left over from the Yang presidential run a few years ago.
It was the Yin Yang twins, and
I thought it was when we were Jung, and it was Carl Jung.
My joke after he bought it
Mine's smarter.
was Blanc 182.
no, but it was
Wink 189.
it was outside the venue, so like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to carry it around all fucking day the next
Right.
day.
What was it? So it was just a shirt like that?
Similar, but it wasn't. Well, Brad brought a long sleeve. I bought a T-shirt,
Yeah.
and the T-shirt was a little bit more flamboyant. The one that was inside that I was like, I don't know if I see myself wearing
Yeah.
this one. And the bootleg one had a different
But
design.
it's when we were young.
Yeah.
Similar to
Not
that.
the bands.
No, none of the bands. The bands had their own merch,
You're fine.
which Brad chose not to support in favor of supporting the corporate bigwigs.
I
and when we
wanted
were
to
young.
remember the weekend with my friend Chuck.
That's fair too. No, I think that's okay because you spent $375 or whatever it was for the ticket to get in there.
That's what I think too.
You know.
I mean, I don't really, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really have.
I sided with Chuck so I won't get a fucking spanking.
So this woman spit in my face, and Ray's like, I don't know, I wasn't there.
I'm gonna
I didn't. We weren't even through the story. I am so angry, and I want it known. I have a nice soft projectile to throw, and I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Well, Ray sided against me, so I'm going to send him an envelope full of.
To be clear, though, I didn't side against
Yeah,
you.
I'm
I just said it's fine to buy the
Yeah.
merch thing. What is happening?
So-
this judge show sucks.
so
This is
so great weekend.
Ruby.
Couldn't recommend it enough. If you are one of those people that's like, I don't know if I could fucking fly to Vegas, that heat, that many hours. It really wasn't a big deal as long as you fucking stayed hydrated, and they did a good job keeping
Yeah.
everyone, whatever. But
although it sounds like that guy under the picnic table
Yeah.
would have a different story.
Yeah, there
Well,
was
that's the
also
thing, I
That's
was
his
like-
own doing, though.
Yeah.
I was kind of this. By the way, this is while the sun is up, and the sun went down to like 6. So
Yeah.
I'm like, are people coming to this festival in the morning and getting drunk 3 hours before the main bands go on?
Yes, it's Las Vegas.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yes, it's Las Vegas.
But basically, the nightmare travel day, it really made me feel like this weekend is going to be a shit show. It's going to be my fault, and Brad's going to be mad at me.
Yeah.
And for a story for another day, last time Brad went to Vegas, he ended up in a trip that ended multiple friendships.
Yes.
Oh, I heard last time he went to Vegas, it ruined a different concert. You don't remember?
I do.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Oh,
Somebody wasn't getting it. I was just,
But I did.
I was
wasn't-
aware of that.
that wasn't-
while I was in the crowd.
Yeah, for sure.
His bad experience though was in my head of like, is Brad gonna be like,
Yeah.
let's see if this is another, and then if
Now I really want to know that story that ended multiple friendships.
Not even joking.
Yeah, it is a story for another day. All in all,
Let me write down.
yeah, this is a super
This is
like
a pen.
fun weekend.
Yeah.
Very
you know,
all positive.
yeah, we
I can
made
think
it through.
of one negative.
Yeah,
The woman that screamed at my face and laughed.
Yeah, and then you went, let me put that in a little jar, and then I will open that jar and throw it at Ray when he's just
If
here to
you-
yes and.
I'm just gonna say this. If you were in a situation where you were like livid, which did happen on your cruise thing when they were making you sit and you're like, I can't sit. Remember that?
Yeah.
I do think that if you told me
That story has more layers to it, by the way. It wasn't somebody going sit and me going,
No, it was
I can't
super
sit.
shitty. It was super
No,
shitty.
that situation.
I
sucked.
do think if you were really mad about that,
Yeah.
and then you told your close friend, and he was like, I don't know, I wasn't there. I don't know who's in the wrong this time.
No, that's not what happened. I can't wait for you to rewatch this because you will see like you're 10% through telling the story and then looked at me aggressively and went, "What do you think?" And I went, "I don't know yet." Like I don't know who said what. And you got so angry. We'll dissect this later.
Yeah.
I don't like this
is
being part of the podcast.
You know what? Like 3
It's
weeks,
ugly.
3 weeks from now, when we talk about therapy, you know, this is a thing. But
And I think we do put Brad's old Vegas trip on the must-tell list.
Oh,
of
yeah,
like next February or something.
Yeah.
Folks out there, if you have fun concert stories that you'd like to share, if you are a fun bear and you are the guy who passed out and threw up under Chuck, if you are the drunk woman who gave me an unsolicited back rub during the offspring,
yeah.
send us an email, funbearablepod@gmail.com.
She was
cute.
that too.
She was cute.
It was very confusing.
Also,
Brad thought I paid her to do it,
I did.
also
I still do.
real quick,
and I did.
can you believe it? I will say this, viewer listener, if you want to get in on this big candy conspiracy,
Ooh, yeah.
reach out to us, funbearablepod@gmail.com. If you have any working theories with that as well. If you've seen any Reese vans driving around, if you've seen any Hershey goings-ons.
Yes.
And also, if you have any gripes about Halloween trick-or-treating that you witnessed, because I'm curious to see if this is an effect of, is this a growing thing? Is 2023 taking a litmus test of where things are? Did you notice, if you were out trick-or-treating with your kid, did you notice more cars or anything like that? Did you see a ridiculous thing?
Yeah.
My observation, I've never heard of parents driving next to their kid trick-or-treating until you brought it up today. I've never heard about it in my entire life.
And I'll say, as we were driving around,
last night.
Trick-or-treating.
Oh, yeah.
8 days ago.
yes, we saw none of that. We saw people walking in groups.
In like
so.
a lot of groups of
Yeah.
people walking.
Oh, that must have been frustrating for you guys, because I know you like to wait until you find one lone one. And that's why you're driving around,
Steal the
right?
candy.
Oh.
That's what I'm there for.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, well, you both get something you like.
Yeah, give me a chocolate covered payday.
That's fun.
Folks, thank you all so much for
I
watching
also call it a chocolate-covered payday.
and or listening.
It's your fault. You said it.
For Ray Harrington and Chuck Staten, I'm Brad Rohr saying thank you so much, and we're sorry for being Funbearable.
It's tough to cut out the weird tiff that we had, because you can't really edit it out, because then it doesn't work for the rest of the episode, so it just has to be there.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's weird. I think what we should do is squash it now, never bring it up, but let it fester.
Let it Uncle Fester.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hell yeah. And he's
That's
right there.
offensive to me.
Yeah. That's a racial epithet.